Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Great show today, folks. I'd like to thank Alan Warren for forwarding these guests that I have today to me. Great guests today, folks. And both a great movie and book that we're going to talk about today, as it's a combo platter for you today, and a great story as well. A true story that I think will shock you. A story out of Seattle in the 90s about not just Hollywood the bank robber, but a couple of men that were involved in a series of bank robberies in the Seattle area. And a couple guests that I have with me today, Shawn Johnson, who is an FBI agent, and also we have author of the book, The Treehouse, The True Story of Hollywood the Bank Robber, and the man who was involved in the bank robbery, Stephen Myers, is with us today. I want to bring them in right away and we can get the story. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in for the first time to True Crime Tuesday, FBI agent Shawn Johnson, and we should say author. We're just going to say author, Stephen Myers. So welcome, gentlemen, to the program.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Tim.
And that'll be the last time I'll just do the general hello and welcome to the program. We'll address each individually as we go on here. And I want to get individual stories first, and then we'll jump into the story here. I want to start with Shawn first. Shawn, I want to get your background as a law enforcement officer, and then we'll bring Stephen in because I'm going to get a little bit of the meat on the bone from Stephen here in just a moment. Shawn, your background as a law enforcement officer before you got to the FBI, just tell us a little bit briefly, if you would, please.
Well, grew up in the state of Minnesota, went to college and law school in St. Paul.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah. Joined the Bureau in 1987, went to Quantico for new agents training for 16 weeks. After that, got my first assignment, which was Seattle Division. I was in Seattle from 87 until 1998, so 11 years. When I got out there, I started working on a task force, which was a serial murder task force, the Green River Killer. I'm sure from people in Seattle are familiar with that.
Really? Yeah.
Was a part of the violent crime squad. I worked traditional violent crime, bank robberies, fugitives, kidnappings, extortions, interstate theft, all the traditional violent crime violations. And then following that, I transferred to the National Security Squad. I worked counterterrorism investigations and counterintelligence investigations for a few years. Went back to the violent crime squad, and that's where all this occurred from 94 until 96. Following Seattle, I transferred back to the Midwest to Milwaukee. I was in Milwaukee for 7 years. I worked violent crime, gangs, drug conspiracies. We stood up our terrorism task force after 9/11. I supervised that until I left Madison in 2005. I was an instructor at the FBI Academy for 6 years, teaching new agents various programs. From there, I transferred to a headquarters unit, taught human intelligence operations for 5 years. I've been retired now for 10 years. Have my own business here, Wolf & L LLC, which I do consulting work for the government, and that's my story.
It's an amazing story, Shawn. I got to tell you. Now, I do have to ask you this, Shawn. One of the precursors that I think maybe sets us up a little falsely in the movie, and I wanted to clarify this with you. Your colleague, Mike McCann,
Yes.
says in the movie that to him, solving bank robberies, he thought was pretty easy. In fact, he cites that he solved, like 80 before this particular, it was 80 some before this particular bank robbery. And he thought it was a pretty simple game. It was pretty cut and dried. But this case was a little different. I have to ask you, in the psychology of this whole thing, do you find that this particular game is relatively easy, or is this tougher?
Well, I agree with Mike on some things and others I don't. But I would say that typically most bank robbers are, I don't know if easy is the right word, but their careers don't last too long. 2 or 3 robberies, they're in and out of the bank quickly. They may wear a baseball cap and sunglasses for disguise, maybe not. The verbal demand and man note. They're not professionals. They're not trained. They're just going in. Back in the 90s in Seattle was basically going to get drug money. Once they're out of money, they'd come back to another bank and rob it again. Typically, maybe 2 or 3 robberies at the most they would get away with. So that was probably a majority of our robberies. But speaking of the Hollywood operation here, I mean, that was 180 from all bank robberies. These guys were professionals. They planned. They did their homework. I mean, this was not an easy case by any means. So if Mike said these are easy cases to work, he didn't work high-level cases like this then, because this was seriously a very sophisticated case and a 4.5-year investigation, which took its twists and turns, of course. And my approach to it was different than Mike's approach. Seattle police approach was reactive, react to this robbery, until they finally got caught, But I changed that strategy when I became the case agent on this to a proactive strategy, implementing different techniques, strategies, cooperation with banks, other law enforcement, private industry. So for my focus, it changed the focus of it from, again, a reactive approach to a proactive approach. That's kind of what I decided was what we needed to do in this particular investigation.
Now, Shawn, is it fair to say when a bank robber walks into a bank, there's a lot of, I don't want to say fear and trepidation, but there's a lot of, I got to get in, I got to get out, I got to get there quickly. There's not a lot of calm to their demeanor, correct?
No. If you go in all crazy and acting weird, I mean, you're escalating the situation right away, which typically gets people's attention. You have witnesses, employees, customers, people outside the bank that may see them leave, get into a vehicle, those types of things. But the way that Scott and Steve and Mark approached this was totally different. It was low key, don't ramp things up, get in and out. But these guys, like I said, most bank robbers are in about 30 seconds to a minute. As this series of robberies progressed, 19 in total, by the last robbery, when Scott and Mark were inside the bank, they were in there almost 5 minutes.
Wow.
5 minutes, which is unheard of, because you go from a teller drawer to potentially doing multiple teller drawers. The next step would be, a takeover situation. And then this, Scott's robberies progressed. They got more sophisticated. By the sixth robbery, or the fifth robbery, he was going into vaults, which is a very small percentage of bank robbers. They don't take that risk, because they don't have the skills to do that. Scott did have those skills, but they were perfected over a series of robberies. Of course, the first robbery that Scott and Mark did was total. I'm surprised they didn't get caught that first robbery, just because it was so bungled for various reasons. So, but it was a learning experience. You learn by your mistakes, right? So Scott learned by his mistakes too. So we had to take that into consideration in planning this strategy to eventually catch them.
I'm going to go over some of the psychology of this with Stephen as well here in a moment, but I do want to ask you this from a law enforcement standpoint. It seems to me that the genius of what Scott, Stephen, and Mark were doing was the fact that, and I believe from what the movie says, is that it was Stephen's idea that, I'm tired of hitting the counters and in the tellers. It's not enough. If we're going to go for it, let's go all the way.
Yeah, the risk is there no matter what. But as Stephen said before, if we're going after, these banks who are getting $2,000, $3,000, $6,000, I mean, where's the return in that? Why are we putting our investment and time into this? We're only getting that amount of money. So when Stephen got involved, that was what he told Scott. Why am I doing this for this piddly amount of money? We need to, ramp up the game here and make this worthwhile. And that's what Stephen brought into the situation. Stephen brought in the situation was to make this more effective, more productive, in terms of money. So the risk is there, and you get caught for a bank robbery, still $100. You're still going to do as much time as just, taking $250,000. It doesn't matter. So the amount of money isn't what's considered in a prosecution. It's strictly the bank robbery itself. So why not ramp up your game and go for more?
Now, Shawn, I'm sure the anti-theft technology is much better these days. I mean, 30 years on. But at that time, in the early 90s, what are we looking at for anti-theft technology before Scott and Stephen and Mark decide we're going for the vault?
Well, most banks had camera systems, typically 35 millimeter cameras, which worked half the time. Some didn't work. Sometimes there wasn't any film in the camera at all. So we had to get those developed. We had bait bills, which were pre-recorded serial numbers, series year, denominations that if they took, down the road, if we did a search warrant, for example, and found these bills, we could trace them back, to a particular bank robbery. We also had dye packs, explosive dye packs, which had red dye and CS gas. So once they were taken off the teller drawer, they walked through the door of the bank to go outside. There was a timing device on it. So 15, 20 seconds later, it would explode. And everything would be stained with red dye. The CS gas would be coming off. And actually, Scott got one of those during the course of his robbery. So he learned by that, too. But that was basically it. And some banks had security measures in place. Typically after they got a robbery, they'd probably have security in the bank for a while. Some banks had what we call bandit barriers, which was enclosures behind for the teller drawers. That was basically it. But it wasn't until later on in this investigation when I brought in the tracking devices, which is a brand new technology for Seattle, that we installed those in upwards of 60 banks prior to the last robbery that these guys did. And that's what eventually caught up with them, was the tracking devices.
Interesting. All right. I set all that up so that we can backtrack now and get with our guest, Stephen Myers, who's the author of The Treehouse, the true story of Hollywood, the bank robber. Stephen is one of the accomplices of Scott Spurlock, who is the Hollywood bank robber. And Stephen, I want to welcome you in at this time and thank you so much for being on the program. So I would ask you this, Stephen. With that being said, I want to recap for people how it is that you first come across Scott, because Scott was an unusual character. Tell us a little bit about how you come across Scott, because at this point, Scott has already built something called the Treehouse, which is out in the middle of the woods, out overlooking Mount Olympia. He's gotten into the meth business. He's acquired quite a bit of money from meth already, but had to get out of that meth business, didn't he?
Yeah, that his personal contact that did all of the transferring of material of the product, collecting money, and returning it back to Scott once all of the payments were done, all of the money that was received. But he was the cook. He never really liked the drug world. He didn't, the culture of it he never liked, but he was a scientist. He was a very meticulous, very precise in everything he did, whether it was cooking meth or whether it was building or whether it was digging holes or whatever it may be. That was his personality. He was extreme in his way, not in a fanatical way, but in a very calculated. And he believed in perfection, and especially that. And how we met was my brother actually was friends of his back then in the college and so forth. And he called me one time when they were outside of Seattle, and he asked me if I would be interested in helping to remodel this barn they bought out in the country south of Olympia toward the mountain area, toward the ocean. And I said, sure, and that was actually a setup to have a very large meth cook at that time. I didn't realize that when I first got there, but when I got there, I was building the barn, doing things. It was just sort of a front, but there was they had already done a big operation, there was a stream going through the property they bought, and, they had irrigation, they had plumbing, and they had everything going up to this factory, which was on the top of this big barn.
Wow.
Huge, laboratory he had set up. I mean, it looked like, and I'm up there and I'm like, oh my God, I mean, I didn't even calculate in my mind at that time. It wasn't in my world. So I had no idea the implications of it. I just looked at it, man, this is amazing, and it was so out of my scope at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we came together, we were working, and I helped him in the laboratory, and we became very close because I'm a sculptor. I've been an artist my whole life, lived in Europe for a third of my life, and, did exhibitions and commissions and went from country to country, lived in several different countries. So this to me was like a beautiful creation. I didn't look at the criminal side of it, and his product, the first time I ever had that, knew about it actually. And, I took some and it was just amazing. I mean, I personally have never done drugs. I was never into the drug world. I mean, I have, but to me, most of it is like lesser than creating, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And, but this stuff was totally pure. He was the first one to introduce crystal meth in the States. He created it up and down the the West Coast from Seattle down to California. And his contact who distributed all this, had all the contacts. Well, this stuff went viral, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, his partner at some point got murdered, and that ended it for him. But we had been doing things after that initial meeting that we had there. We became very close friends because we just worked seamlessly together. And then when I was living in Chicago, a little bit after that, I moved to Chicago and had my studio there. And he would come in and we'd come out. We had some small real estate we did together, and he helped me build. And he would come in. We'd do building projects for 2 or 3 weeks, and everything just was smooth and it evolved. But then, yeah, the time that his partner was murdered, that's when he quit. He ended the drug world. He didn't want anything more to do with it. And in his mind, what he told me at some point, I can't recall when he told me this, but he said, his whole life, he's always been fascinated with taking down banks. It was one of his fantasies of life, but it was more for him to have a fantasy. It's not a fantasy. It maybe start as a fantasy, but it becomes a reality, just like the crystal meth. He had actually gotten, I don't know how, because the internet didn't exist, but he used Adolf Hitler's crystal meth formula. That's what he created.
Really?
He used that to cook his stuff, yeah, which was amazing. And I tell you, I mean, I've tried some other person's whatever, it's nothing. Cocaine, nothing. It's nothing compared to what this stuff was. And it was pure. And unless you were just totally crazy, and that's all, you can kill yourself with it, you could. But his was so, for me at least, I mean, I'll say it for me because it was just enlightening. It was such a good quality. You could work well, you could think well, and you didn't need very much. And, you could go, when you did it properly, you have your work day, you work, you eat, you drink a lot of water, a lot of, drinks, and you sleep. And then, it's normal. But anyway, that ended. And in Chicago, when I was working in my studio, he came in at one point. He didn't give me a heads up. He came in, and it was in the summer, and I was in the studio working on a piece of sculpture, and he comes banging on the roll-up door, and I had a warehouse in the middle of on Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago, in Midtown there, and we greeted each other, and then I got cleaned up, and we went down to an Italian restaurant. That was in the movie, actually. You saw that.
Yep.
And that's where he introduced me to this bank robbery. And by the way, in the movie, all of those little scenes, sort of, animated scenes they had, those all came out of my book. Nobody knew about it. Shawn didn't even know about it. When he saw the movie, he goes, "Where did he get that information?" Well, the director, somehow, I think my agent handed him the manuscript or forwarded it to him. And he never gave me credit. He never told me he was going to use it or anything. But all of those anecdotes that you saw in the Netflix series came from the book. Came from the manuscript.
Huh.
And otherwise, it would have just been another run-of-the-mill, interview everybody. That's it. You know? And the video came from my family. My brother actually made that video years ago. And, all of that came in. It was through my agent that the video was released. For him, for Shawn. I mean, he wouldn't have had, that would have just been a normal interview him, interview her. And, as it was, they interviewed people that had nothing to do with anything.
Well, if I can, Stephen, the video was incredibly insightful. To be able to get a look at Stephen in the Treehouse, to be able to get a look at some of him. I mean, this may seem kind of ethereal too, but to be able to get a look at some of his manuscript, to be able to look into his eyes and see him privately.
Sure.
You get a look at him and his character, right? So that you just don't see a depiction of him through the media. Because a lot of times, and I'll admit this, having been a media member for 35 years, we can get it extremely wrong based on a report, right? A report of who we think this person is based on how people portray him, not based on actual footage of somebody, because you can tell a lot through a camera lens pointed at somebody, especially for a long time, right? Because really a camera lens is just a mirror reflected.
I will have to say there was only one person in that documentary, and that was Alban, who was there. He spoke about Scott, and he was talking about his cooking, his crystal meth and all. He had been friends with Scott and helped off and on build a treehouse. Many, many people helped with that. When I came into the picture, we were doing a lot of work. And, the treehouse evolved over time. But Alban, who was there, and he spoke, he was the only person there outside of Shawn and Mike McGann and myself. All the other people were just girls in the neighborhood, fill in. They had nothing. Even his sister, they all have a point of view of Scott. They didn't know who Scott was.
Yeah.
They were happy to get money from him when they needed money. They were happy to go to the treehouse and have a summer banquet up there, that we used to have, big gatherings and food, and to experience the sanctuary that we had created. Mostly he had created. It was his image. It was his idea to do this. But in the beginning, it was a slow process. There was no design to it. There was no idea. It was like it just started going. It was like a organic thing that grew little by little, year after year, and it grew into this amazing, uncompromising entity that when you walked into the forest and you saw this thing, you go, oh my God. There was nothing design-wise like an architectural design or anything like that.
Right.
And the craftsmanship was not top-notch. It was just what you would think when you're a caveman and you suddenly need to make something up in the trees. Does it make sense? But it was strong, it was sturdy, and it got more and more refined. We had outdoor bathrooms, we had toilets, we had showers, we had walkways going way off into the forest, and it was amazing. And, the documentary is, it saddened me because there were so many typical cliches, and I was told by the director, he promised that it was going to really, portray Scott. And like you said, through the film, the video that my brother had taken years ago, I'll just backtrack. He said, I've got to make a video of Scott in the treehouse because before it all, someday it's going to fall apart. He didn't foresee all this, but he just documented that, and he was the only one that did it. Yeah. So I give him heads up for that, and that helped the documentary a lot. But, there was so much in the book. I mean, he took things that, he wanted to take out of the book, but there were so many instances of humor with the police, doing things they did. And I mean, when you read this book, it's like a voyage. It's not a true crime novel written in that way. It's you understand Scott, you understand me, you understand other people, girlfriends, people coming and going, all the upsides, the downsides, and through this writing, you understand who we are. It's not a third person saying, well, he did this in his life, and then after that he did this. And you see what I'm saying? It's it's an organic evolution, and there's dialogue. And, when I wrote this was the first year and a half in federal prison, and everything was viscerally in my body, in my mind, in my emotions. So I could remember every detail, and some of the dialogues, and, just things just started coming out. And I don't know why it happened. I don't know what it was in me, but even before we fell, years before, I always felt this is not us, even Scott. It was something like we were propelled to do this. Does it make sense? I mean, obviously the money's the motivation. You want to do it. It was more than the money. It was being able to show we can do this. We're not career criminals, but we have the mindset. They're not that great at what they've created, the system. You see what I'm saying? And they want to make you think they are.
I see what you're saying here, Stephen. But at the same time, let me be fair about it, okay? Because you can say, well, we wanted to take apart a system. I get that. And in the end, the goal is, and it still is, money, right? Yeah, and the money is the root of all evil.
If you weren't there, you wouldn't. Why would you do it? I mean, right. It was not a matter of taking apart the system. I don't have anything against banks.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It was more if you can see a fallacy somewhere, I mean, you can get on a grand scale, you can get on wars, espionage, all of that sort of stuff, and you can see how people use and understand and go in and infiltrate and do. It was more that. It was also the creativity of it. It became very creative and almost a challenge of trying to make sure that we could do this seamlessly, perfectly as possible. And
because if
it evolved though too.
If I can, just for a moment before we go to break, I want to plant a thought in your head before we go to break and before we actually start talking about the case itself. And because I do have a question for you when we come back from break. I want you to think about this. That when we look into the movie and they talk about Stephen's upbringing, or not Stephen, about Scott's upbringing, and they talk about how he wanted to kind of get into chaos. He wanted to push things further. He wanted to, when it was breaking into houses, he wanted not just to see what was on the other side, but he wanted to go further with things, right? If it was a matter of money, he was making more money dealing meth. And it would have just been a matter of finding another distributor, right? Or finding some other way to push meth. If it was just the money. But it wasn't the money. It was the thrill.
It was the thrill. It was the accomplishment. It was the creation. It was a creation. When you saw him in that laboratory, it was Heisenberg, from Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, when that came out, it was almost as if the writer, what's his name, Gilliam, is that his name? Knew Scott. That's what I thought. I go, God, this guy's created an older Scott Spurlock. You see, with the same kind of intention, the same kind of intensity, same kind of intelligence going into what he made, perfection. And, that was him. And what you said is exactly true. Once he achieved the most he could achieve in that, it was over with. Now he wanted to go on to the next thing. He wanted to achieve and be able to prove to himself that I can do this. Right. And, it was always the same thing in the drug world because of the exterior violence that goes on. That's why he hated it. That's why he never wanted to be around it. And with bank robbery, there was never a notion by anyone, definitely not me, and I know not him as well. This is not a violent game. This is not the way to do it. The way Hollywood depicts bank robberies is not the way to do it. It's that's a no-win situation. That's a night in the cinema to watch that. You see what I mean? And yet they still do it. People still do it that way.
But was that a mistake? That's what I want to discuss on the other part of that. And we'll bring Shawn into the discussion to ask if that's a mistake to assume that it's not a violent ending. We'll talk about that when we come back. Okay, Stephen. The name of Stephen's book, which, by the way, I highly encourage you to go out and get the book. We have a link in the description of this program, so I want you to go get it. The Treehouse, The True Story of Hollywood the Bank Robber. When we come back, we'll talk with FBI agents and instructor Shawn Johnson. We'll talk with Stephen Myers about whether or not bank robbing ends in a violent end, and whether there is violence involved, and whether it is a terrifying or terrorizing activity, whether it's naive to assume that this is we'll call it a terroristic sport, for lack of a better term, because I don't have a better term. But we'll discuss that when we come back. First, I want to tell you about our sponsor today, Jelly Bean and Julia's over in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. Jelly Bean and Julia's Barbecue is the spot you want to go if you don't have a spot to go, even if you want a family spot to go. Jelly Bean and Julia's specials this week include Tuesday through Thursday, happy hour 25% off all appetizers, including appetizer samplers, half price single pour well drinks, half price Mick Golden Lights, Coors Light taps, and half price domestic cans and bottles. And of course, on Friday, that amazing smoked prime rib dinner that I've been telling you about every Friday night. Corey loads it up in the smoker overnight. It smokes for an entire 12 to 14 hours. And then you've got that 14 and 16 ounce smoked prime rib dinner, folks, with the Boston baked potato, the tequila berry salad, and that Texas toast. It is one of the top 5 dinners you will have in your life. I will guarantee it. It is amazing. They serve it starting at 4:30. It's there until it's gone. You're going to love that smoked prime rib dinner. And of course, breakfast on Sundays only over at Jelly Bean and Julia's. Make sure you check that out. JellyBeanandJulius.com. We have a link in the description of this program. Go check it out, jellybeanandjulius.com in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. All right, when we come back, more with Shawn Johnson and Stephen Myers. We're talking about Hollywood the Bank Robber right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Our guests today are FBI agent Shawn Johnson and author Stephen Myers. The name of the book, The Treehouse, The True Story of Hollywood the Bank Robber. And we have a link in the description of this program, so you can go get that wonderful book. All right, so I almost want to kind of, you know what, I want to leave the subject for the end of the program, but we kind of brought up the fact that it's such an interesting question, Stephen. You dropped this, and now it's at the forefront of my mind, whether there is or isn't a violent end necessarily to bank robbing as opposed to drug dealing, and it isn't a violent crime, because it could be argued, and I think it was argued a little vehemently in the movie. But I want to get to the story. I want to get to the story first, and then we'll tackle that at the end of the program. We'll bring Shawn in for that, and we'll bring Shawn in as well for the story, because I want to bounce back and forth between the two of you. But Stephen, I want to talk a little bit first about. I want to ask you this question because I'm dying to ask you this question. You have a career as a sculptor, a wonderful career as a sculptor. You're traveling. You're seeing the world. Art's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful career. And you've managed to let Scott into your life, and he's managed to talk you into this new career of bank robbery. What's the key phrase that gets you to go, you know what? Maybe bank robbery is not a bad switch.
No, it's not that simplistic. I mean, the main reason why he came to me for this was because of the sculpting, because of the prosthetic mask that he wanted. And it's a process to go through. You have to remodel his nose, remodel the components that he wanted. He had cheeks, chins. And so, it's a 3-week process to do all the modeling and then casting and recasting and on and on. It started out as that. And then plus, because of that first robbery he did with Mark and Mark's girlfriend, Bethany, which was a total just catastrophe, everything. I mean, basically, he knew his concept of what he wanted to do when he did that was pretty good, but the people he had with him just made it into a Keystone Cop. I mean, it just became, he realized he couldn't operate with these people any longer. So he came to me in Chicago and he said, listen, you can all I want you to do is the prosthetics. You come out and you can start, I need people, because I'm going to be working in this capacity, and I need someone living in the front cottage, because he lived in the treehouse. It was a 19-acre property. Yeah. And the cottage was up on the front road, and that's where people came in. And, he knew my kind of personality, and he wanted people not to just show up like they normally did in the past. I mean, Olympia was a hippie place back then, with Evergreen College and, the marijuana and all that whole world they lived in. Mm-hmm. And he wanted that to be contained and minimized. And so I was there and I was working on the cottage, and, I could keep people. I say, no, he's not here. We're not doing whatever we're doing. And he wanted me to do his mask and to help with the radio on the outside in the scanner. And I would have no connection to the bank robbery. And if anything happened to him, I could just go back home, hit the road, and go on my way. And, I was already friends with him. We've already done work. And for me, the concept of robbing a bank, I mean, I would have never come to it in my mind, or willingly done it on my own even. But the way he explained it, and because we were friends, and I knew he was going to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was without a doubt. And I didn't want to see him go down. But at the same time, it intrigued me. It was a creative process. And I'm thinking, yeah, and if I can help him, as long as it's nonviolent, he goes, no, he assured me in his way, at least in the beginning too, was that it's theater. You have to act, you have to know how to act, but I need a lot of information. and it's going to take time to get that. And so these preliminary robberies, these small robberies, like Shawn was saying, 6,000, 10,000, 12, 13, 15, whatever. And like you mentioned as well, I got tired. I said, man, I'm not, this is ridiculous. I can't. We either do it. We have the means now. We have the radios. We have I meticulously was in Seattle, scanning all of the frequencies of the different precincts in Seattle, followed armored car deliveries, pickup and deliveries, became very familiar with the SPD routes, their in routes, their shift changes, all of that sort of stuff. Like I've said before, the SPD was very, not simple, but they're calculated. They have a routine. You can figure them out. They're not a threat. Whereas the FBI, we had no concept of. Right. I mean, he did. Scott studied them meticulously. But we didn't have any contact. We couldn't get a radio frequency because you can't just go in. I mean, you could probably go in somewhere, but they're going to suspect you. What do you want an FBI frequency for? Whereas the normal Seattle, the police, fire department, that's all, anybody can do that. Anybody can listen to the scanner. And so I was doing that. And then, because we worked so well together in other fields, he could trust me. And because of that, like Shawn said, if he needed to be in there 5-10 minutes, yeah, he can be, as long as, because he knows I'm out there, monitoring everything, monitoring the roadway, the radios. And, over time, I became extremely familiar with the dispatch voices, and all the different police officers, the Nora 3, the Edward 1s, whatever, all they were. And by the way, in the book, when we have a robbery, you're in my car and you're listening to the dispatch make a call out. You're listening to the police responding. You're hearing Scott after he leaves the bank, what he's doing and what I say, and you're in the robbery with us. Does that make sense? That's
yeah.
Each robbery I go through like that, and so it just grew and grew and grew, and after a while, I don't know how to explain it. It's something that just drew us in deeper and deeper. It wasn't the money, because the money was Mickey Mouse. It was nothing.
Right.
But the creation of it, when you saw that he could go in seamlessly without, he had a gun because that's part of the theatric, but he would holster it like that. And the psychology, he told me, it was like a little bit what Shawn said, when you go in screaming and yelling and people think, you're afraid and you got to get in and you got to get out. He says, what happens if there's a police officer in there, or if there's, some, biker guy that wants to, I'm not going to get taken today or whatever, then what are you going to do if you're in screaming and yelling? Whereas our methodology was, our method was, if there's a confrontation on any level, we abort. You just go, you abort. There's no ego involved in this thing. I mean, it's just one bank, one day, you just stop it. And that's, his philosophy was too.
But so Stephen, was the gun loaded though? I mean, even though you say you'd abort, was the gun still loaded? Yeah,
he had a loaded gun. I mean, it was real. No, it wasn't unreal. I mean, but it was not swinging in front of everybody like that, like they normally do in the movies, and going in screaming and jumping up on counters and doing it. It wasn't any. Which you may get to a little further in our podcast, but we had at some point about halfway through, we hired one of our women friends that helped us off and on, and we paid her to work in the Sea First Bank for us, and she had given us the securities and different protocols and things that they have to be aware. And, so he had a sort of lexicon of words to use, and because of that, it made the people working there believe this person knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You see what
yeah, absolutely. And would make me think as someone in the bank, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it would make me think as someone who works in the bank that maybe it's an inside job. So I would think maybe there's a bit of safety behind it too. I would get that.
Yeah. Or an ex-police officer or something like that as well could very well be. I mean, Shawn will probably attest to this, because the way he held his Glock is the way an officer does, because it has a certain safety feature that you have to do that, so it's never on the trigger, but just different things like that. And I started doing his disguises. I started doing his buying women's wigs and cutting them in different wigs, different times, different costumes, depending on weather and weather conditions and time of year and so on and so forth. So everything became kind of like a seamless, we were one working together. And I mean, I told him, I said, I'm never going in a bank. That's not me. I'm not doing it, but I'll support this. And then as we realized, once we got into the vaults, which I pushed and pushed, he was always concerned about the reception in a vault and all of this sort of stuff, if he could hear me and all of that. And because I said, listen, man, you're in the vault or you're in it doesn't matter. It's, and forget the tellers. I finally convinced him, especially after he bungled on that die pack. For some reason afterward, he went to get the tellers. I said, leave those tellers. That's where they keep those die packs. Don't put that don't even get that in your head. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like Shawn said, we learn from mistakes. There's no school of bank robbery. So he studied meticulously case files, FBI case files. We read the newspapers and read different, bank robberies that took place. And you can kind of see the methodology and the repetitiveness of what they do. And you can see what doesn't work and, what mistakes you should never do. But we did everything as forensically clean as possible. I mean, the cars we bought, we would hire I would go look for a car. If I liked it, I would go hire somebody to go buy it. I would never buy it. I would just go and say, okay, I got to, act like I was interested, but then I left and didn't buy it. Then I'd send a person to go buy it for us. And, whether that was in California or whether it was in, the area of Seattle, around Seattle area and so forth. And, we had vehicles that we had for a long time that we used. The first one we had, actually, he used, I don't know how many, I think after his largest robbery of $500,000, I said, it's time to get rid of that car. It was just because you never know, maybe some neighbor somewhere saw him, you know what I mean? And this was the problem, because we knew that the FBI, we assumed, and if you didn't assume, you were stupid. We assumed they had information that was never leaked to the newspapers.
Yeah.
If they had information on it, it was never going to be leaked. Whereas the SPD, whatever they did, they just spoke about it in the newspapers. I mean, that's how we knew they finally put in the tracers. I mean, we've been waiting for them for 4 years for them to put in electronic tracers, and they never did. And Shawn will explain why that never happened. But when that was a leak in the newspaper, that some bank robber got followed home and the police followed him home to his house and arrested him at his house. Well, I mean, anybody that knows anything knows that they'd triangulated the tracers. So we knew, okay, now they finally put him in. And, this is a whole nother saga, a whole nother story behind all of this, because this last robbery that we did wasn't supposed to be just one bank. It was supposed to have been 3 banks that we'd prepared to do, one right after the other the same evening. And we had purchased the vehicles, the electronics, and everything to be able to do this. But because of the circumstances of the tracers getting in the money, and then the radio frequencies in Seattle changed upside down, and so everything got jumbled up in the very last minute. But for some reason, which I can't really recall anymore, but it's in the book. The force. I mean, I was ready to leave. Scott was out of town. He wasn't returning like he was supposed to, because we'd prepared for this last robbery, and he wasn't returning. And I was ready to return to New Orleans. And then he showed up that night. And lo and behold, there we were.
And there you were. One of the things, and I want to backtrack to this, and then we'll bring Shawn in here, and then we'll kind of start to wrap this a little bit. But Stephen, one of the things that your group did do that's unconventional, that hit me right between the eyes, was this. In the Hollywood movies, there's always the never hit the same spot twice cliche, if you will. You guys didn't do that. You would hit banks. Yeah, you would hit the same bank repeatedly.
3 times, 2 different banks 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe another one a couple times. Well, because especially like when we would have an aborted bank where I'd have to call him out and nothing ever came of it, no money or whatever. Then his philosophy was we go back the next day because they're never going to think you're going to come back right afterward. They're never going to be prepared for that. I mean, we wouldn't necessarily do the same bank, but we would have, whenever we prepared for surveillance before, when we'd start an operation, when I'd fly into wherever I was living, San Francisco, New Orleans, and Chicago, wherever, and we'd fly in, and then I would do surveillance in Seattle on the banks that I thought would work. And we would always have minimum 2, but usually 3 or 4 banks. And then Scott and I would go up together and we would go through everything and look at each getaway, what the positives and negatives were, the size of the banks, the different things. And then he would finally choose. It was on him to choose the one he wanted, because he was, he's the one that has to do it. I mean, I'm out there to protect the perimeter, but still he's there. And once he chose the one he wanted, then I would go up and do all kinds of surveillance on the police patrols, the in routes, the out routes. And if there were 2 avenues that came in that the police could come into that bank from, then we would hire another person to be in a car with a radio on the other avenue or road that I wasn't able to visually see. And then, we gave them instructions. Just if you see we called the police, the Seattle police, mamas. And if you see a mama with red lights or speeding, let me know immediately, and then I'll get Scott out of there. If it's just a normal police car driving normally, don't do anything because we don't want him to leave for just some normal police officer, And, we had everything. We had people, Alban in the documentary, we used him 3 times for watchers in his car. And, they were not, there was no risk to them. They would just go home. We would tell them to go home, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we paid them. And, it's very rare. I mean, I don't know if it's rare or not. I mean, it's more, people are more, when you see the kind of lifestyle Scott lived and the kind of way we lived life, aren't in a world that would think you're doing this kind of thing. So people who helped us, we had women helping us, we had, like Alban, and people knew that they just, it's, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, he was not a typical narcotics cook either, I don't think. I mean, he wasn't in that world. He wasn't in that paranoia, ultra-violent, risk-taking. I mean, yeah, risk it was, but maybe because of the naivete or because we went into it more artistically. I have to say it was artistic. I mean, anybody that gets an idea to build a treehouse like he did, and I mean, he started alone. I mean, he had helpers and stuff, but I mean, I've done a lot of building in my life, and I mean, even the first story, you can't, trying to do something like that, a little habitat, and it's pretty amazing. And, that treehouse was the whole sanctuary of life. Without that treehouse, none of this would have happened.
Even seeing the ruins of it, Stephen, is impressive. I mean, just seeing the ruins of it sitting there was impressive. I have to ask you this because I find it, I mean, you talk about the eventual network that spreads out there of people who end up getting involved. Everything starts to escalate, right? And you talk about the night where you're supposed to hit 3 banks instead of 1. Does it hit you that there was a point where, you talk about you extend yourself too far? Maybe we've gone too far. Did you feel like on that Thanksgiving you'd gone too far? Like maybe we overstepped our bounds?
We knew what we were up against. We knew we had to. I mean, there's a backstory to that too that needs to be clarified. We can maybe do it a little later on now. But no, the escalation is part of what we did. It was always escalating. We always, if you don't, you quit. And this last robbery was, like I said, the plan was 2 years before this happened. We had planned on 3. We just hadn't gotten enough understanding and knowledge of the electronics. we were going to jam the police frequencies with transceivers, and so they couldn't make a call in, or the dispatchers couldn't communicate. You white out the frequencies. All of this. We had purchased the mobile van that was going to have the transceiver in there, and we had our cars purchased because we had to have drop cars one after the other, and then obviously Mark was going to be involved in this because two of us couldn't have done it alone.
Right.
I was always going to be running the scanners and the radios and making sure and transferring the money and taking it and so forth. But once they put the ProNet tags in, it was what they're called, tracers, we couldn't, there's no way we could logistically manipulate what we needed to manipulate with all of that. So then we went to the second option. We went to this bank in North Seattle, which was quite a largest bank we ever did as far as size and everything, volume of money and all of that, because there would be a large amount of money in that, and that we thought we would be able to go through the money and get the tracers out, because we hired Mark to be with us that time. Because a week before that, in that same precinct of the bank we got caught at, we went and robbed another little bank just so I could get the frequencies of the radio frequency of that area, because it changed from 4 or 5 frequencies in Seattle to a trunk system which has 30 frequencies that just keep rotating. So there's always a frequency open for anybody, for the police or anyone to call into.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find out what the frequency was going to be up there. And we wanted to get the ProNet tags. We wanted to get them so that we could see where they were in the money, how they were, how easy it was, what the response was. And in that one, I told Scott, let's do this. Just de-disguise. Don't go in as Hollywood. Go in with a ski mask so they don't think it's you. So they're not going to respond, en masse like they normally would. And so he did that. And then we were together in the van, and he was in the back going through the money. I mean, it wasn't very much, 30,000 or something, nothing, 25, 30,000. So the volume wasn't that much. And he went through and got 3 of them within 5 minutes. He got 3 of them out of the money. That was it. It was just easy, quick, and, no problem. But when we did the big one, he got one out. Scott got one out very quickly. I think within 3 minutes he got it out. And there was a large volume. It was over $1 million. So there was a lot of money in there. And one of them was overlooked. One of them they missed one. I don't think he did. I think Mark did.
Yeah. Just
because that's kind of, he's not built for that kind of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes complete sense. Yeah.
Scott's like meticulously, and when you have the money, when you break the band and you go through it, and then you toss it to one side or wherever, how they were doing it, then if you lose it, you lose it,
Yeah. Yep.
That did it. But that one that Scott got gave us, I think they didn't catch up to us until about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, something like that. Because they have to triangulate that one frequency that's, still, that's static, in one
Mm-hmm.
place. Then they have to find it and deactivate it.
Yeah.
And then they go on. But that's what life is.
Let me bring in Shawn real quick here, Stephen. And ask Shawn. I want to go back to a point that Stephen had made earlier about bringing in these tracking devices, and the fact that the media had tipped them off
Mm-hmm.
to the fact that these tracking devices were enabled in another city, and that they had pulled this previous bank robbery to see, to kind of get an idea to prep them for this bigger robbery. Were you aware of the fact that the media had tipped off, or that the media had put this out into the let's just put it out into the general public that these were in existence, and that you might have to, that they may know about it, or that they may know they're in existence?
Well, the goal was to keep that behind the curtain. We didn't want folks to know those tags were in the banks. We had caught other folks on those tags. Interesting part about that is we catch up to them because we had our monitoring devices in our cars. So we would pull up right next to them and do a felony car stop, and they had no idea how we caught them. I mean, we caught them with money and typically confession, but we tried to keep that technology behind the scenes. It wasn't until there was a robbery, I think it was in Bellevue, Washington, I'm not 100% sure, that somehow that technology got released in this article that they had been caught with a tracking device. This was sometime in '96 prior to their last robbery. So it got out, which wasn't our plan. We didn't want it to get out because we didn't want folks to know that to look for something else besides, die packs, for example. So again, we started installing these in the banks early in '96, and I supervised the installations, focusing mostly on banks that I thought were likely targets that Hollywood had hit. So we had a total of like 60 banks that we put these in, mostly in the vaults, within a radius. Most of Scott's robberies were in Northeast Seattle. We had a few in West Seattle. We had 2 down in Portland, but again, until about 60 banks. And we worked with the banks themselves, the company out of Texas who manufactured the ProNet technology, and worked with Seattle Police Department on dispatching when these calls would go out. We had radio, it was radio frequency, so it hit different towers in the city of Seattle, so we could follow it through the city. But again, we did not want that technology to get out. When Scott found out about that, as Steven said, they robbed a bank less than a week before that last robbery to get them, not the money, but to get the tags to find out how to defeat them. And they did. They did that day, but it was a totally different story, of course, a week later.
Did you have a hunch, Shawn, that robbery had something to do with them? Or did you figure that was a separate robbery?
So at the time, let me say that in Seattle, any given year, we had about 300 bank robberies a year. So we were in the top 5 in the country for bank robberies. So that robbery alone, we did not connect to Hollywood because of the disguise and the fact he wasn't going to a vault. He just went to teller drawers. So again, we had no idea that was connecting. That was only a few days, of course, before the last robbery. But at the time, we didn't know that.
Okay.
That was Scott.
Okay. All right. So let me, I want to leave some meat on the bone here for my viewers and listeners so that they can go to the book, so that they can go to the movie and find out Scott's fate. Let's do that. I want to do that service for you guys here. Because and by the way we end this, I think people might figure it out, but I do want to address the question that we started off the segment with. And that's this, Steven. You had said that when it came to the drug game, there's violence. There's a lot of violence in the drug game. And I'll give you this, okay? There's the potential for violence when someone goes to buy a drug. There's the potential for violence when you're dealing a drug. There's potential for violence everywhere in the drug game. But it was the understanding when you got into it with Scott that it was pretty much going to be a nonviolent transaction. But I'll bring you something up that the filmmakers brought up, which I thought was very interesting. And when you say that it isn't necessarily violent, I would throw this back at you and wonder if you've rethought it to this day. And I want to get Shawn's thoughts on this as well. And first, I want to ask you, Shawn, is there such a thing as a nonviolent crime?
Nonviolent crime? Not that the FBI works. All violent crime is considered violent crime, and bank robberies are violent crime.
All right.
But per the FBI, yes, they are.
Per the FBI, a bank robbery is a violent crime. Okay. Let me ask you this, Shawn, before I weigh in a little bit here and then go to Steven. What makes a bank robbery a violent crime?
Well, I don't have the federal statute in front of me. It's force, violence, fear, and intimidation are the factors to prove a bank robbery in federal court. So force, violence, fear, intimidation. You don't have to carry a weapon into a bank to intimidate folks. You can go up with a demand note. That's force. Give me your money or else. So we treated all bank robberies potentially violent. I mean, you go back in history, right? Back to the gangsters, right? John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, up until right before I joined the FBI in '86, we had that major shootout in Miami, Florida, with 2 bank robbers who killed 2 agents and wounded a bunch of others, and then both being shot and killed also. So, and the Hollywood, this Hollywood, but the one in Los Angeles some years ago, they came in with bulletproof vests. So when we were setting up our strategy here and our plan to take this group down, we did consider the fact that, yes, violence is a very high potential because we didn't know, we were in their minds, but you treat all bank robbery, all situations like that as a potential for violence. So we trained in the course of being prepared for a violent encounter with them.
Is it safe to say too, Shawn, that with the average bank, it's assumed that a bank is sovereign? It's a sovereign safe place, correct? We should be able to step into it and expect the utmost security. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, you would hope so. You would hope so. But the nature of Seattle in the 90s was, the culture, the expanding bank industry, more branches popping up. It was a target-rich environment, And at the time, the West Coast had 45% of all bank robberies in the country, from Los Angeles up to Seattle. So it was the maybe part of the grunge movement. It's just the nature of Seattle at the time, the prevalence of drugs, like most bank robbers were robbing banks for. So, but again, the situation we encountered, we prepared again for the potentially there could be a violent end to this. And there was a shooting, of course, at the end of this. But thankfully, no law enforcement was hurt or injured. But it's always a possibility. We can't treat it any other way than a potential for violence.
Is the stiff penalty there because it's a crime against the government, or is it because the crime is against the people?
Well, the statute, like with Scott and Stephen and Mark, they got charged with the bank robbery. They got charged with the use of a weapon in a bank robbery. The third count was assault on a federal officer, and the fourth count was use of a firearm and assault on a federal officer. Now, most bank robbers probably do a few years, 10 or 12 at the most. I mean, these guys got sentenced to 21 years and 3 months plus 5 years probation because of those indictments, because of those counts, right? But again, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's...
No, I mean, in this particular case, yeah, but for someone who is thinking, well, yeah, knocking over a bank is a victimless crime.
No, it's not. It's not a victimless crime. I mean, you have to consider the tellers, the employees that go through this trauma, right? We had some tellers that were for multiple robberies that Scott did. And I mean, they recognized him when he came in the bank at some point because they said two of the Seafirst banks he had done 3 times each. So he walks in, like the last robbery in the Netflix documentary, they interviewed the manager of that Seafirst bank. And we had wanted posters in most of the banks. And he said, walk right past his wanted poster. And then Mark comes in right after him. He's, shit, I got 2 Hollywoods now, So for the victims of the crime, that's the tellers, that's the employees. I mean, the trauma they have to go through. So when I interviewed witnesses at the banks, I could definitely tell some weren't, but a lot of them were traumatized by the event. You don't have to have a gun pointed at you, but it's the use of a weapon, seeing a weapon, put yourself in their shoes. They're going to be, upset, distressed, and traumatized for, at the moment, definitely.
So with that in mind, Stephen, you've had plenty of time to think about it. I mean, with penalties and whatnot, through writing the book, through taking a look back at things, do you still think that bank robbery is a victimless crime?
No, I never said that. I never.
Oh no, I know you didn't say that, but I mean, or a nonviolent crime. Let me rephrase it. Do you think it's a nonviolent crime?
Violence. If you just take bank robbery biography or the history of bank robbery, I don't think you can ever say to yourself that there was anyone like Scott Spurlock going in there, like Hollywood. Mm-hmm. All bank robberies in some fashion or form, I mean, serious ones, are all going in locked and loaded with the idea to take them down no matter what. And that's horrible. That's horrible. I mean, it's ugly. And like Shawn said, when I was in county jail, still, in LA, those guys went in with body vests and armor, everything, and just started shooting like the Heat film, and they didn't have the intelligence that he had, the way they accumulated. But all of those films, I've always thought that the reason, although like Shawn said, in the old gangster days, yeah, that's what they did. I mean, you can go Jesse James. I mean, that's what they did. They went in with guns and they did it. And so over time, it's just become cliche that that's how you have to rob a bank, because you're not going to get it in. You're not going to get the money any other way. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Scott, he didn't take that approach. It just was not that approach. And I wouldn't say it's not nonviolent. The implication of violence is always there. That's obvious. And at the same time, I mean, I'm not trying to lessen it or anything, but just like flight attendants, they're trained for terrorism. And that's part of their design to be who they are. They have to know how to react, what to do, what not to do. And the same with tellers. Tellers, there's potential for robberies. This is what you do. Is if you're afraid of that, I mean, in my mind, I wouldn't want to become a teller if that's the case. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not, I mean, not everybody thinks that way, but I told him, I said, if ever there's any kind of violence, I'm out. I don't want, there's not going to, I'm just done. Because at the same time, I don't like, that's one reason why I would never go into bank, because I've been self-employed my whole life. If someone came into my studio and, said, give me your money or whatever, they're trespassing on my domain. Okay. So that upsets me. Yeah. And that's what I didn't like about the bank, going in there and doing that. It's their world, it's their livelihood, it's their life, but there was nothing directed toward them. They were just one of the obstacles to get to something that was objective to them. It had that money in the vault has no bearing on their life. Do you see what I'm saying? And there's no reason why they should risk themselves for that money. I mean, they're just an employee, and the bank doesn't care about them at the end of the day. My banker here in Durham, she'd worked for Wells Fargo for 25 years, and they finally laid her off. She was a high manager. She was a wonderful woman. They laid her off, and they hired some kid, I don't know, that they could pay $12 an hour to do. It's just like you go in there and you don't want to be there anymore. You see, there's no ethics in the banking world, and I don't even use that as a rationale either, but there's no ethics in it. When push comes to shove, everybody's dispensable. I mean, that's the way it is. But as far as the violent part, yeah, I agree with you. But, I mean, to get back to, he had about a year before the last robbery, he started surveillancing the Federal Reserve Bank in Tacoma. He was really starting to plan to do that. He wanted this big, do you understand what I'm saying? It's the myth of actuating, making actual something that's in the myth. That's what was fascinating about the guy. He didn't want to harm anybody. If he'd wanted to harm someone, he could have gone out in a blaze of glory and tried to shoot as many of the police, hundreds of them were around him in the end, in the standoff. He could have done that, but he didn't, because he's Scott Spurlock. And this was his motion. We spoke about this several times. He spoke to me about it. When we would be hiking in the Olympic Mountains, and we would be up at the top after, 15 hours of hiking, we'd be resting, and he would say, you never let someone else determine your life. You got to do it yourself. If push comes to shove, you have to take your life in your own hands. And that's what
I have one quick story to share in that vein.
Sure. Go ahead.
I've always told folks that I never knew Scott Spurlock. I knew Hollywood, the bank robber. And my big regret in this investigation was that I never had a chance to sit down with Scott and talk to him about his career in bank robbery. I would have shook his hand and would have said, hey, hell of a job. You're done. Let's sit down and talk. But one insight I got into his mindset was, following the last robbery, the next day he was holed up in his camper about 2 blocks away from the previous night's last shootout. And the Seattle police responded because the owners of the house had seen some activity, some movement inside this camper. So Seattle police responded to that. At that time, I was coming back from Scott's house. We had executed a search warrant in his house Thanksgiving morning. But anyway, one of the Seattle sergeants who responded to that, when they approached the camper, they tried to put some pepper spray into the camper, and they heard a gunshot. And they retreated back to cover and put about 42 rounds into this camper. In talking to him afterwards, he said, I can't remember the exact words, but he said, I respect that man, or something to that effect, because when he walked to that camper to spray that pepper spray in, he said he could have shot me. He could have killed me on the spot, but he did not do it. That's the shot they heard, of course, was the end of Scott Spurlock. But that gave me some insight into his mind. I'm not condoning his activity by any means, but that was one story I could share.
That says a lot. Yeah. Yeah. He could have. Sure. That brings an interesting question. I want to ask you both. And actually, you might have changed my mind on what I thought your answer was going to be, Shawn. So I'll ask you this question first. How do you feel knowing that, Scott did do that he ended his own life, and never paid penance for one day for everything that he did, even through all of this? Do you have any feeling, first as a law enforcement officer and second as a human being?
Well, as law enforcement, I was very frustrated because after 4.5 years of this investigation, my goal was to stop this spree of robberies. My other goal was to sit down and talk with these folks. I got a chance to do that with Stephen for about 4 days. I did it with Mark for about a day. I didn't get that opportunity with Scott. And throughout this course, I was thinking, when this all comes to fruition, I'm going to throw this big ass party and celebrate what happened. We took him down. This is the end. But after what happened with Scott, I didn't feel like that was appropriate, nor did I feel any joy per se. I had fulfillment that we finally were able to stop the robberies and such. But so professionally, it was very satisfying. Personally, not so much, because I was asked in the Netflix show by the producer, who are the winners and losers in this case? And I said, there are no winners or losers. Everybody lost to some degree. Law enforcement lost. Stephen, Mark went to prison for years. Scott's dead. There are no winners. I mean, there was somebody on the show that said there were, potentially there were winners in this case, but there were no winners. Everybody suffered in some form or fashion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would say there are no winners in this. I agree with you. There's no such thing as winners and losers.
No.
I have to ask you the same question, Stephen, but with a bit of a twist to it. After having served the amount of time you've served and lost the amount of years you've lost, what are your feelings now looking back at Scott Spurlock? Do you still look at him the same way? Have your feelings changed on him?
I mean, firstly, I mean, it wasn't as if it was conflict free with us. I mean, there was aspects that we argued about, and but we always resolved everything. But I look back now, it's almost as if it's a mythological saga to me. I don't look back and regret. I'm happy. I mean, happy's not the word. I don't even know if there is a word. I'm very. I feel that when I saw him, that he had taken his life when I was in the hospital after they shot me up, and I saw that he's dead, and I just go, oh, thank God for him, because this was not something that he would have done. He would have never gone to prison. He knew that at the beginning. He always said, if you even think about prison, don't even start in this game. It's not what you need to be doing. And it's true. I didn't think one way or the other. I never thought about going to prison was the last thing in my mind. In fact, I had no concept of it. But, committing suicide was not in my head. But when you're in the moment, like when I was shot up and lay in the street, things change in your mind. And you have, looking into the dark hole, the dark pit of the judicial system you're not a happy camper. I mean, that to me is far worse than taking your life and getting on to the next stage, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But I feel honored that I was around the man in the way that I was. People ask me, do you ever regret doing it? I would never change. I wouldn't change it. I can't change. I mean, I can't change it anyway. But when I look back, am I upset that I lost those years? I never lost those years. I gained so much in prison, met several different great people, important people. I did a lot. I mean, I wrote this book. I've got books of poetry. I've got paintings, I've got architectural designs. I mean, I never stopped working. I was in the best shape of my life, and every day was free. If the government wants to pay me, I mean, don't get me wrong, the apartment wasn't nice. There's nothing not, you've got 95% of savages and animals, and then you've got 5% of some real incredible human beings. But other than that, but you learn, it's a different, like I say to people, when I went in, I switched the light switch off. And when I came out, I switched it back on, and just life started up again. It's not like, I don't understand people, how they get out of prison and go do the same. I just don't understand it. Now, you asked me, could I do that again? I can't even imagine even entertaining the idea of robbing a bank, because it was something that took place. The metaphor I've always said, I said, Scott and I were like two comets that collided, and we zoomed around the universe until we exploded and parted ways. I don't know how to explain it. It just happened. And it happened, his personality, my personality, they molded together, and it just happened. And I wouldn't change it. If I could go back and change it, no, I wouldn't change it. It changed my life for the better. Robbing those banks and learning that methodology, seeing the world, seeing what money is and what it really isn't, the illusion of it. I mean, yeah, we need it. We all need it. I'm not saying, but it still doesn't, there's still something deeper in that. Even though we need it, there's something way beyond needing it. And it freed me. It freed me from a world that was fake and delusional. And I can't explain anymore. And on the other hand, I look at Shawn and I, how we came together. I mean, that to me is important. I really, that's like part of the whole saga, part of the whole fate. This story hasn't ended yet. It's still unfolding. Mm-hmm. And, the fact that Shawn and I, because I look at it even deeper than this, is that Scott was obsessed with the FBI, CIA, FBI, Mossad. He studied them, he read them, and it wasn't like he feared them, but he was just like them. And I see myself, I never had concepts like that before I met Scott. I mean, yeah, you hear about all that. I was political, I had political views, but nothing like when I was around him. And here I am now, Shawn and I are like really good friends. And it's sort of like an extension of Scott. Does that make sense? Because yeah. Scott would have been a great FBI agent, CIA agent. He would have been great at it. And he didn't. He took that path. And, but like, the fact that Shawn and I are together and we're broadcasting this. Why did I write this book in prison? It wasn't as if I knew while we were in the middle of this robbing banks, this life we led, I knew it wasn't like it was our decision. Yes, it was our decision, but it was something pushing us. And it was like this silent force that can go, even though I times said, this is it. After this one, I'm done. We've got to separate. It's got to end, but it just kept growing and growing and growing. And it had to end the way it had to end. I can't explain it any other way. And why I went in and to write the book, why I didn't have to do that. And the circumstances in prison, which allowed me to do it as easily as I did. I mean, it's easy. It wasn't easy, but I had facilities. I was able to do it. And you don't get that kind of thing in prison. Why did I get it? I got it. I don't know how I got it. I mean,
right.
I can tell you practical reasons, but it just came before me. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
not normal.
Absolutely. Shawn, I have one last one for you, and then we have to wrap up for today.
Sure.
What do you feel from a professional standpoint? And Stephen had brought this up just a couple minutes ago. If Scott Spurlock was going to be turned into one of the good guys, into an FBI agent, or even when he was young, as he was kind of going off the beaten path, as he was going off the tracks, what do you feel would have brought him back to the light side, so to speak? What would have made him into rather a criminal than a criminal? What would have made him into a good cop?
Well, I think Stephen touched on this. I mean, his ability to analyze the situation, to set appropriate boundaries to some degree, to plan, to have the human interacting skills to be able to talk to people. All those things are important in law enforcement and the FBI. So I don't know where he took the other track, but I would have to agree that he had the necessary skill set to do what I did for 29 years. Now, I'm not saying he took the easy way out, which he didn't, but again, I don't know Scott Spurlock. I don't know him. I never had a chance to talk with him. So I'm looking at it from a distance to some degree. This whole situation, as Stephen was referring to, it's not just a story about a series of bank robberies. It's a true crime story, but it's not. It feels like after 30 years now, when Steve and I have gotten back together and talking about things we each didn't know 30 years ago, I think we all got thrown into this whirlwind for a reason. Mm-hmm. And at the time, nobody knew what the outcome was going to be. None of us did. So I think going back and revisiting what happened, 30 plus years ago is important, because for all of us, there's so much more to the story than even the Netflix show had. Stephen's book elaborated on a lot of things I didn't know. But as we talk, and as Steve and I have developed this friendship over the past few months, it feels like, we're going back in time a bit, but we're also looking forward from now on too, to hopefully get more of the story out to folks that, watch the show, for example, but the book elaborates on a lot more, again, that I didn't know myself. So, it's how he took the path. I mean, I wish he would have taken the other path. That's for damn sure. I wish he would have taken the path that I did, but, we wouldn't be sitting here talking if he hadn't.
Have you two ever thought about putting together a talk where the two of you put together anatomy of a bank robbery or something to that effect, where not only do you talk about the case, but talk about how you go forward?
Well, we've talked about a lot of things, actually. Right, Shawn? Yeah. Where this whole thing goes, neither of us know at this point in time, but we're hoping that, this is picked up on by somebody. I think it would make not because I'm in it, not because Stephen was involved, but I think there's a story that hasn't been told, whether that's in the context of a TV series or in the context of a movie. I think it would be a great product, but that's, who knows what the outcome that's going to be either, right? But I think for us, this gives me, in talking with Stephen the last few months, it's given me some closure to this, which I didn't have before. Mm-hmm. Because I've talked to Mark Biggins on the phone a few times, but have not met him in person over the last 30 years. But and this November coming up is the 30-year anniversary of the last robbery. Oh, wow. Thanksgiving Eve this year, 2026. Yeah. So that's a milestone also, I think.
Well, I think a movie of the Treehouse would be excellent. From watching the documentary, it left me wanting a bit more of the authentic story. I wanted the authentic story. I know what I saw was not the authentic story, but
no, it wasn't.
But I wanted more of the perspective of the actual players. So I know what I saw from How to Rob a Bank, but I wanted the actual words of the people, and I wanted the authentic story. And the authentic story you can read, folks. The Treehouse, the true story of Hollywood, the bank robber, is available right now from Stephen Myers. And we've got a link in the description of this program, so you can go get that book. Stephen, say something and hold up the book so people can see it.
There's the book. There's the cover of the book.
There you go, right there. Excellent. So, folks, we're going to wrap it up right now. Shawn, Stephen, I want to thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you both. Yeah. Thank you both. Folks, we're going to lighten things up a little bit. It's time for us to bring in... we're bringing one of our co-hosts, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
And it's that time again, the time you've all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, I need a co-host. Notice I said co-host. Jess is not with us tonight. It's not like she's gone to or left this mortal plane or anything. It's not like Mother's Day killed her. At least I hope not. Dear God, that'd be horrible. But no, she's off. She's got today off, a well-deserved today off because of the Mother's Day weekend. So I reach my hand across the United States to the great state of Tennessee, to the Nashville area, and once again reach out to a good brother, a good friend of ours from I know it's 98, but
the big 98.
The big 98.
And you always love saying the mornings. No, I'm on in the afternoons.
Yeah, you're on in the afternoons. Yeah, but on in the afternoons on the big 98, and also
Yes.
you've got the Saturday night show, syndicated show as well.
130 cities called iHeart Country House Party.
Yes, iHeart Country House Party. I'll just let you do the intro. It's Wayne D. How are you, Wayne?
Life is good, man. It's great to be back on the program. I know that your love for this child you created, that is Darkness Radio. So it's nice when you offer me a little slice of pie.
Well,
What?
I got a slice of what? I didn't know if you
And I
meant
like being
that.
on the show with you.
Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah, most definitely. Well, it's great to have you back. I love having you on the program. It's good just to work again, just to have the two of us in somewhat of the same studio. I mean,
Well, that's we've been talking about starting the wrestling podcast again too.
Yeah.
And this buddy of mine invited me to be a guest on his for Backlash. So I was like, sure, man. And doing it the whole time, I was like, God dang, I miss Tiny Dancer Tim Dennis over here.
See?
iDub, Crisco, the whole crew. I mean, get them all back together. Why not?
Get it all back together and get it rolling again. I'm telling you.
Just saying, we'll run it back at some point.
I didn't tell you. I know I'm springing this on you on air. I had a very, very vivid dream that had animal in it the other night.
What a rush.
What a rush. I'll have to tell you off air what it was because, but it was weird. It was
He
weird.
has to tell us off air because they were both naked. But
Yes,
that's fine.
we were both naked and in the shower. But I'm telling
It's
you,
the
brother.
paranormal show, not a pornonormal
Yeah,
show.
I
Okay?
know. But we mapped out the entire match. I'm telling you. No, I'm kidding. No, but no, it was weird. I'll tell you the weird part. I'll tell people here on air some of the weird parts, and then we'll move on to dumb crimes and criminals. He didn't have his mohawk. He had a full head of hair.
Oh gosh, that'd be weird.
And
I never saw him in that.
But he still had his makeup.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a varsity jacket, which was very weird.
Half Road Warrior, half Steiner brother. What's going on?
Yeah, that's exactly. I thought, why are you wearing a Steiner Brothers jacket? But
That's funny,
But it
man.
was red, white, and black.
I love that. That's actually would have been a good gimmick, though.
It would have, yeah.
That's funny.
But it was very funny. So, all right, with that, I suppose we should jump into before we do, tell us what's coming up this weekend on the program.
This weekend, big old country star. So we have guests lined up this week. It's starting to get busy in Nashville. So it's either going to be Ashley McBride, who phenomenal female talent, really underrated on the country radio side, or it's going to be Jordan Davis, who is a newer guy but still like killing it. One of those two will be a guest, in your local hometown market. So just check us out. Probably best way is iHeart CHP on Instagram. Let's see if we're on in your area.
Excellent. Very cool. Very cool. All right. With that, we'll get the first story out here.
Let's do it.
I talked about Animal being immortal in my dreams. No, we weren't in the shower. But there is an actual death row inmate who believes he's immortal and can avoid execution. And it turns out he did.
What?
Yeah. I'll tell you how.
God, that's like being buried alive, right? It's like one and the same word. How terrifying.
Well, let me tell you how he avoided execution. It's a bit of a play on words here, but he did it.
Okay.
He did it. And he's down south there. He's I don't know if it's a neighboring state. It's close, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's to the east.
Yeah. A death row inmate who believes he has already died 3 times and been resurrected has been deemed too mentally ill to face execution. So technically, he is immortal in that regard.
How could you be too mentally ill to face that? I feel like that's a one size fits all type situation.
A little bit. 56-year-old John Richard Wood, yes, he's Dick Wood, go figure, has been in prison for more than 25 years after killing a state trooper in South Carolina. In December of 2000, Wood shot and killed Eric Nicholson during a traffic stop. After fleeing, he shot at police and hit another officer with a bullet fragment before being arrested. Now, 3 mental health experts have agreed that he isn't competent enough to be executed, having not understood why he's being punished. He doesn't get that.
Do you think that works with a spouse? I'm mad. I just don't get it, so I can't be held accountable, right? If I don't understand.
You got a lot of hoops to jump through before you get to that there, buddy.
One of them she'll throw at you if it don't go right.
That's right. Wood, who has schizophrenia, believes he's immortal and thinks he has already been executed 3 times. So he thinks he's been through this before and lived.
Great.
Yeah. By the way,
I don't think that's real, but sure, sir.
Well, when you take a look at the vacant look in his eyes, you tell me if he doesn't believe that.
Well, to be fair, which guy am I looking at? Jeffrey Epstein or the other?
Well, either one. you take a pick.
You know what's funny is it looks like he has a dead left eye already.
It does.
And his neck looks like he may have been hanged at some point in his past life.
Yeah. It looks like maybe he might have taken a rope or 2 or 3. Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Move over, Hulk Hogan. We got a new king of immortality.
Oh, no. The immortal Dick Wood. That's his middle name, I know.
They called me that in the showers after football practice in high school. You know what? Never mind.
Didn't. No.
The immortal Dick Wood.
The judge in the case said Wood believes he will be resurrected if the state puts him to death. He also...
Did you say Wood resurrected?
Yes, Wood resurrected, yes. He rises again.
This story brought to you by Viagra, the latest sponsor on Darkness Radio.
What's the one that's got both of them in it? Isn't the new pill got both of them?
Why would I know that?
Hey,
Long wiener works.
Hey, you don't have to.
Can you not say that?
Oh, he also erroneously believes he's already received a pardon from the governor. That's why it rises again. During his 2002 trial, Wood thought the courtroom was working as an agent of beloved Kevin Rudolph, who is a deity who thinks he is part of a war to win over control of the planet. This gets good.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This dude does need to be euthanized.
The court also heard that Wood thinks he has wings and was gifted immortality to win his fight against the justice system.
Yeah. To be fair, the way the story's going, I thought you were going to say Justice League, but so there's a little bit of normalcy and a captain of immortality over here.
It might be a 2-pronged fight. You never know. The judge, with the help of 2 psychiatrists and a psychologist, has agreed that Wood can't be executed because of his debilitating mental illness. See, I could have made up that storyline, and I'm not. Well, I won't speak for myself, but I don't think I'm mentally ill.
There's a little bit of that in there, but that's
maybe.
It's all right. Undiagnosed.
Thank you. Undiagnosed. I haven't had the 2 psychologists and 2 psychiatrists and the psychologist in yet. They found that Wood understands why he initially received the death sentence, but still thinks police were framing him for brutal rape. So he doesn't realize that he shot the sheriff and did not shoot the deputy, if you want to quote Eric Clapton and Bob Marley, but he thinks he's being framed for rape.
Why?
Yeah.
How would he just think that? In a past life, did he do it? And now he's being tried in the current life?
I guess. Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
The judge's ruling will go to the South Carolina Supreme Court, which could either uphold or overturn the decision. So there you go.
Let me tell you, where you find these stories, I would hate to see your Google search history.
It's colorful. If the FBI ever comes into my home, I'm sure they'll have a fun time.
Yeah. So is he on death? So he's on death row, or he's not now?
He's on death row. Yeah.
Okay. We'll see if it goes through for what would be the 4th time.
And here's the kicker: if they decide it's mental incompetency, then they have to transfer him. They either have to transfer him from death row to a mental institution or hospital, depending either or they decide to continue to keep him on death row.
I mean, realistically, what do you think happens?
I don't think that Well, if he's a danger to others, they can't release him to a hospital.
Yeah.
So they have to keep him where he is.
That's so weird. And then there's people who wouldn't have a dog in the fight that will step up for him to not be executed.
I'm sure.
That's so weird. That's so wild.
But the two psychiatrists and the psychologists have to step up and say, well, hey, he's not, you can't rehabilitate him. So you know, we have to keep him in jail. I mean, that's their determination. But if they say we think he is, you know, with psychiatric drugs, we think we can do something with him, then you have to put him in the hospital. So
good Lord. Yeah. Thank God I ain't got to be anywhere near that.
Yeah. It's a tough decision. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, there's only two avenues you can go with it. But
yeah.
Our next story is about a man who is hospitalized and two are arrested after an acid attack outside McDonald's. I think you and I were talking about McDonald's before the show.
We were.
Yeah. So, you know, careful when you go to McDonald's. Although I think this happened outside the country. I want to say this happened in England. A man has been hospitalized after an acid attack, and we're not talking about the kind you drop on your tongue. We're talking about the kind that is in a battery. Outside of McDonald's in a hazmat incident is what they're calling it. Police were called to a restaurant in Ashton Town Centre in Greater Manchester. A man in his 30s was taken to the hospital, though his injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. Two men in their 40s and 50s have been arrested on suspicion of assault. And that's not assault and pepper. It's just assault, because I know you're thinking McDonald's jokes.
If you think of like the crimes you could commit, I mean, not that any of us are sitting here, you know, plotting our next criminal escapade, but how would that even make sense? It's why McDonald's? Why acid?
You know, that's a very good question. It seems to me like when people want to commit atrocities, the first place they go is the place you could go for a really quick, cheap, easy, delicious burger. I don't know why. You never hear this stuff happening at Taco Bell. You know that, Wayne?
For some reason, this story immediately brought me back to when I was a kid. And like I'm from Robbinsdale, right, in Minnesota, just outside of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
The like local homeless guy in Robbinsdale, he was called Robbinsdale Ralph. He got arrested like once a month for drinking turpentine behind the marina.
Turpentine?
Mm-hmm. And for some reason, this and the acid like put me back as that little kid. Like, what the hell's wrong with him? Because I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with these people?
That's a tough man who can drink turpentine.
Listen, Robbinsdale Ralph was the man back in the day. Well, not the man, I guess, technically.
I mean, not only could he get a buzz, but he could also finish your furniture. I mean, holy shit. I mean, I don't mean to be swearing right away, but I mean, normally we save that for not safe for work. But
yeah,
I mean, turpentine?
Dude, I'm telling you, Robbinsdale Ralph was a special guy. Now you got me wanting to Google him.
You should, and see when was the last time he was arrested. I can't imagine he lived that long drinking turpentine.
No. But it's the same effect where, like, you know, it's a fluid where you think, who would have that? Why would they have that? And why would they do that with it?
Well, there had to have been like a furniture factory or something around that had mass quantities of it that he got a hold of it.
Well, so this Robbinsdale Marina, it wasn't actually next to the water,
mm-hmm.
right? But they've serviced boats and lawnmowers and stuff like that. So I'm sure maybe they had it there handy for something that they're doing with engines or something like that.
Yeah.
Or take the paint off the boat maybe.
Yep.
My man needed, when moonshine ain't available.
there's your high right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. With this story, Greater Manchester Police told Manchester Evening News emergency services were called to a business premises on Warrington Road in Ashton under Line at 4 p.m. following reports of a hazmat incident. One man aged in his 30s had been taken to a hospital where he's currently being treated for his injuries, which are thankfully not deemed life-threatening or life-changing. Two men aged in their 40s and 50s had been arrested on suspicion of assault and remain in custody. A scene remains in place, and there's not believed to be any risk to the wider public. they're saying that this is such an odd story. In October, 2 boys were taken to the hospital after acid was thrown at them during a fight in East London. That's another story.
Yeah.
Emergency services were called to Walthamstow High Street on Wednesday afternoon to reports of 2 groups of boys fighting. That was in October.
Yeah.
Liquid was thrown in which was determined to be a corrosive chemical. 2 boys were taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. So they're saying that the acid attack that happened at McDonald's wasn't as serious as the one that happened in October.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, but still, it was determined a hazmat incident at McDonald's other than what's happening in the kitchen.
Valid. And it's so funny because I know that it's nasty, but I'll take a McDouble, add mac sauce. Thanks.
No, actually, well, you've heard of the McGangbang, right? I mean, I know Jess hadn't heard of it before, but you've heard of it, right?
You're going to help my weight loss. No, I haven't heard of it.
You haven't?
No.
The the McGangbang is on the secret menu. And supposedly, if you go and order it, only certain McDonald's, I think these days do it, but most of them are supposed to know about it. You go through the drive-through, you order the McGangbang, and it is a Big Mac that has the Big Mac burger and then the bun, the middle bun, and then it's the McChicken and then another bun and then a fillet of fish. And it's got the mac sauce in between all of them. They smush it down, boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada bing. You get all that in the McGangbang.
You know what? I don't believe you.
Go order it. See if they...
I'm going to call my McDonald's real quick.
Do it. While Wayne does that, I will get the next story ready for us.
I just had a quick question. Do you have the McGangbang on the secret menu? I guess that's not... I guess they don't. Not at the one by my house.
Did he say no? We didn't hear.
He hung up on me.
He hung up on you?
Yeah.
Oh. Do you want me to call one of my local McDonald's?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do.
Okay, hold on. I need to. How do I don't know which local McDonald's I should call.
I just Googled McDonald's and then tapped call on the first one that popped up.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll just go McDonald's. Here,
Plus, side note, McGangbang is hard to say.
It is. It's hard to say. Let me call the one over here that's right down the road. I'm going to call him real quick. We'll see.
It's not ringing.
It is ringing. I'm holding it up to the microphone. Can you hear it?
Put it on speakerphone.
It is on speaker. They aren't answering.
Because
I know I'm calling. No. Maybe they just don't answer their phones.
That's so weird. Could you hear mine on speakerphone? I don't hear yours at all.
I couldn't hear yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they just hung up. I asked and they just hung up.
Hi. I have a question for you. Do you do the secret menu there at your store?
No.
No, you don't? Okay. I was wondering if you do the secret menu because I've been wanting to try this thing they call the McGangbang. Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay. All right. Thank you. I just figured I'd ask. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. Bye-bye.
They were so kind to you.
They were.
Damn it, we couldn't hear a thing you were saying, but that's funny.
They will on the tape. They'll hear it on the tape, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
You just can't hear it on your end.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, they don't do the secret menu at the one I called. So.
Well, screw them then.
But the secret menu was a big thing like 2-3 years ago, but I don't know that very many McDonald's do it anymore. But I've seen someone order it. In fact, if you go to TikTok and search secret menu McDonald's.
You know, I got to tell my 10-year-old that things on TikTok aren't real too, right? Do I got to do that to you?
Oh, come on now. You see him go through the drive-thru and order the McGangbang. And are you telling me that was all staged?
It's probably his friend is working the drive-thru.
Oh, my God. I'm telling you, it's real. It's as real.
I got a bridge I want to sell you in Brooklyn.
It's as real as Bigfoot. No, wait. Okay, let's move on.
Just give your emotional support Prince a hug and let's move on.
That's right. In case people are watching the video, I have my emotional support Prince sitting on my microphone. I know that.
What does it say under Prince? Emotional support Prince.
It says emotional support Prince. Dearly beloved, I'm here to get you through this thing called life.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
He's holding
Last 5 minutes have been brought to you by adult ADD.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I'm ruining Tim's show. This is why he didn't have me back for like the last 9 months.
It's not true. It's not true. All right. We move on. We're going to the Atlanta area, to Fulton County, where Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt's wife. How would you like to have a name like Pat Labatt?
Oh, God. No, thanks.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Pat Labatt's wife, Jackie Labatt, says someone recently impersonated her during a traffic stop. Now, if you're going to impersonate someone, would you impersonate the sheriff's wife? That'd be the first person?
No, probably not at all.
No, I wouldn't either. She says that she has been made aware of the allegations that someone associated with the sheriff's office was pulled over, I think is what they meant to say. Horrible journalism here. Was pulled over and identified herself to Atlanta police as Jackie Labatt. She says she has not received many details about the traffic stop or what led to her name being used. She went on to say, quote, I take any misuse of my identity and any potential abuse of public trust extremely seriously. She said that in a statement on Friday night. Jackie Labatt said in her statement that despite not receiving much information, sources inside the sheriff's office and police department have confirmed that the traffic stop took place. For those reasons, I remain concerned by the limited information provided thus far and have requested that all potentially responsive materials be thoroughly preserved and reviewed, she wrote. In other words, get that Jackie Labatt impersonator. What's the most they can charge that person with other than impersonation?
I mean, nothing, because it wasn't like super dangerous, right?
No.
I mean, other than just being an idiot.
Right.
I feel like that's a slap on the wrist and like, we'll see you next time.
That's right. That's why we call the segment Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, folks. Speaking of, what's the worst thing you've done, Wayne, while intoxicated? I mean, that you could be charged with.
Oh, God. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
You know?
I literally just opened Google to see what it would be.
Have you ever done anything like fly a model airplane while intoxicated or launch fireworks while intoxicated? Or
The dumbest thing I've ever done drunk was this fat broad.
Whoa!
No. Like I did. No, I'm kidding. That's not true. The dumbest thing I ever did, I fell down the stairs at my mom's house. I was drinking Captain Morgan. I was 19.
Yeah.
And I went to take a step and I missed the third step and I just barrel rolled that sumbee the rest of the way down.
Ouch.
I'm like a lovey, like, I love you, man, type drunk.
Wow. Well, that's good.
And if I get drunk at a concert, every other song I go, oh my God, this is my jam.
And everybody's like, shut up, we're trying to hear the concert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, this song is about his dog that got ran over by a bus. This dude's depressing.
It's like, but that's my jam, man.
You're not, as long as I've known you, which is quite a few years. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of you drinking anything at all.
Oh, I have. Yes, I do on occasion. I have my 3 times a year bender.
Okay.
In which I end up in jail and I end up, getting plugged by an inmate. No, I'm kidding. No, it's about 3 times a year, but that's about it. I'm not a real heavy drinker.
Yeah. As you get older, it's hard to recover.
It is. There's that. Plus, I'm on heavy pain meds. So you get a different kind of drunk with me.
You mix the two, and this guy swings around the room like a damn Goodyear blimp-sized pinata.
That's right. Yeah, and you don't want to see him. You don't want to see a man my size that heavily intoxicated. So.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
You mean our size? Well, then again, I'm bigger than you. You're a small guy now these days.
I'm smaller, but I'm still pretty big. So I try to what's the saying? With great power comes great responsibility. So I try not to let that power loose. Yeah. Yeah. By power, I mean blubber. Yeah. So, yeah.
Dude, you and I drunk downtown in any city in America, running around with our shirts off.
Yeah. It's a dangerous prospect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This man got popped in St. Petersburg for something a little less dangerous, although it's still dangerous if you think about it. A 34-year-old man in St. Petersburg was arrested for droning while intoxicated.
That could be dangerous.
It could be, depending
on what you hit.
Yeah, or what you got on that drone.
That's true.
Although, if you think about it, the trouble you can get in with a drone is kind of intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Florida man's been arrested for DWI, droning while intoxicated. Police say that a 34-year-old contractor, Richard Carpenter, was operating a... Think about it.
That's a stage name.
Richard Carpenter?
Carpenter.
Well, you would think. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, now that you bring it up. Was operating a drone around 12:20 a.m. on Monday when he recklessly buzzed victim John Murray's vehicle, which was parked near Carpenter's St. Petersburg apartment complex. The small unmanned aerial system flew back and forth past the open driver's side window of Murray's Infiniti sedan, according to police, who added that the drone's blades spin at a high rate of speed and could cause significant injury if it was to strike the victim. Do you think this is a jealous lover situation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Asked what he was doing. Here we go. Carpenter told cops he thought the victim was following him since he has observed the victim's vehicle in many different locations. Murray, police noted in an arrest report, works as a delivery driver. When questioning Carpenter, an officer reported that the suspect smelled of alcohol and displayed signs of impairment like slurred speech and glassy eyes. I have a picture of him too. This is what Mr. Carpenter looks like.
Yeah.
There he is.
I tell you.
Yeah.
If you're not watching the video version of the program here, it's exactly what you would think. He has a very comfortable spot on the couch in his mother's basement that he calls home.
He really does. By the way, second guy to be named Dick today. So,
yeah.
Old Richard Carpenter.
The dicks keep coming.
The dicks keep flying in your face, so to speak.
This isn't after work or whatever you call it.
I'm sorry, it's not safe for work. I know.
Darkness at after dark or whatever you call it.
Yeah, it's not True Crime Tuesday after dark. It's not yet. Anyways, Carpenter, or when questioning Carpenter, an officer reported that the suspect smelled of alcohol and displayed signs of impairment, slurred speech, glassy eyes. Carpenter reportedly admitted to drinking after his late night sorties, which is an account confirmed by his girlfriend. After the drone fight, Carpenter allegedly approached Murray's car and reached into the vehicle and grabbed the victim's phone, which struck Murray near the left eye for breaching the threshold of the window. That was the excuse. Carpenter was charged with burglary with assault or battery. Carpenter was released from the county jail after posting bonds totaling $150,500.
Wow.
That's a huge fine in Florida.
I'm not mad at that. That seems like a pretty penny.
It does. Normally they're like $5,000 or $10,000 bonds in Florida. They really don't care, but evidently they did on this one.
Yeah, they ain't playing around.
No. Although his previous rap sheet may have something to do with it. Carpenter's rap sheet includes convictions for aggravated assault, battery, assault on a law enforcement officer, violating probation, and improper exhibition of a firearm, which if you get that in Florida, you're probably Rambo.
I mean, Florida's definitely like the Wild West when it comes to stuff like that, where like you really got to be offensive to be offensive when it comes to firearms or any sort of stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to be out there. Our next story, speaking of you got to be out there, let me just throw this out there, this story. A Florida surgeon who removed the wrong organ says he's forever traumatized by his patient's death.
What?
Here's why.
Oh my God.
Here's why. And let me tell you a small story before we jump into this. Now, the first time I came off the Jericho cruise, I had COVID. It's before everybody started getting COVID. I was one of the first to get COVID. I felt like I was going to die. I was in Florida. All I knew is I'm in Florida, and all I could think was I need to get home to Minnesota, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to die in a Florida hospital. Now, I had been in Florida for a week, and I had relatives that were telling me, "Can we take you to the hospital?" I kept saying over and over again in my stupor, I've got like 103 fever, 104 fever. And I kept telling him, fuck no, I'm not going to die in Florida. Because I just knew, again, how crappy the health system there in Florida is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Listen, that's why when you're old, you go there because, you fall over and just leave me be.
It's God's waiting room. Right?
Yep.
Right? So, no, I'm not going to the hospital in Florida. I'm going back to Minnesota where they have good health care.
Yeah. For the most part.
Maybe they know what's going on with me, but
yeah.
I ain't going back. I ain't going to no hospital in Florida. I'll tell you that much. The surgeon is one of the reasons why I never will go to a hospital in Florida. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Thomas, I believe it's Shanofsky, maybe, said in a deposition in November that he believed he was removing 70-year-old William Bryan's spleen, but accidentally removed his liver. There is a difference, kids, if you study any medical journals. One is one is the other. Over the course of an 8-hour deposition, Florida surgeon Thomas Shanofsky faced the same question again and again. Why did he remove a man's liver instead of his spleen? And no, it's not to get to the other side. The disastrous August 2024 surgical error and death of Shanofsky's patient, 70-year-old William Bryan, on the operating table prompted Bryan's widow to file a lawsuit last year and a grand jury to indict Shanofsky on a manslaughter charge last month. He pleaded not guilty. Exactly what went wrong during the planned splenectomy has remained a mystery, especially since Shanofsky is not spoken publicly about the case. A deposition Shanofsky gave in November as part of a lawsuit offers his first detailed emotional account of the operation. Shanofsky said there were unusual factors that made Bryan's procedure more difficult, and he described the profound toll of losing a patient, saying he broke down in tears afterwards. That was an incredibly unfortunate event that I regret deeply and am forever traumatized by it and hurt by it, he said, according to a transcript of the deposition that was shared with NBC News by attorney Joe Zarzer, who represents Bryan's widow, Beverly Bryan. Wrong site surgeries can occur during difficult circumstances, Shanofsky said, which in this case included blood in Bryan's abdomen and an enlarged colon obstructing Shanofsky's view of other organs. Shanofsky said while he was trying to get a better view as the operation was underway, Bryan started bleeding profusely, causing his heart to stop. As the operating room team did chest compressions, Shanofsky said he desperately tried to find the source of the bleeding. It was during the chaotic time that he accidentally removed Bryan's liver rather than his spleen.
Talk about terrifying. I've had procedures done, and I could only imagine. You literally are trusting I'm going to be out. So, like, they know what they're doing. I'm going to come back to, and I've had stomach surgery. I've had my eye surgery. I've had hernia surgery. I've had like 3 or 4 eye surgeries. You just go to sleep thinking like, oh, sweet, it'll be all good when I wake up. Might not be. Might not wake up.
It's shit like this that made me so paranoid that I woke up 3 times on the table during my heart surgery.
Good Lord.
That's how hyped up I got before my heart surgery.
But even if you wake up, what are you going to do? Watch them? Make sure they do it right?
I wake up, the first thing I do is I look at the wall of cameras. I'm like, are you doing that shit right? No, actually, I woke up and I screamed because I was in so much pain because my arm was in pain. But I did. The first thing I did is I looked up at the wall of video, the big video wall. And I don't know if you've ever seen the video wall in an operating theater when it comes to.
No.
It is as long as the room. and it's as tall as the room so that the surgeon can see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like looking at a scoreboard in a stadium.
That's wild.
So I'm looking at my insides and everybody's yelling, "Don't move." And I'm like, huh? And then they lose sight of everything because when you move, they lose sight of the cameras.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, my fucking arm hurts. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. That's the one time I remember. The other 2 times I don't remember waking up because the propofol is good. But it's stuff like that. Like, you know, we might misplace an organ that makes you paranoid.
It definitely highlights that, like, not just anybody should be doing surgeries, right? Like, maybe do a little bit of research before you go somewhere.
Right. You can't get the kid from the local Jiffy Lube in there to do your surgery. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it turns out heart disease and changing your oil are not the same.
No, they're not. They really aren't. You just can't replace your filter.
Yeah.
And you're good. Shanovsky, by the way, said that while he was trying to get a better view as the operation was underway, Brian started bleeding. Oh, I said that part already. Shanovsky then instructed his nurse to label the organ he removed as a spleen, which typically weighs less than 15% of a liver. So he got it wrong even after he removed it.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, that's how bad this guy was.
I mean, then that's malpractice, right? Like, that's jail. That's prison.
Yeah, that's why he got charged.
Yeah.
By the way, they have a diagram in this story of what a spleen and liver look like. They look nothing alike.
How would you? Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're not even the same size.
No.
And size does matter when you're looking at a liver.
Oh yeah, it does. And shape. I mean, one's not even the same shape as the other. But old Doc Shanovsky, we call him Doc Shaky for short. By the way, Shanovsky is a doctor of osteopathic medicine, which, if you know anything about osteopaths, they work on your bones. They don't work on your spleen.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, he's been licensed to practice in several states. After Brian's death, he lost his licenses in Florida, Alabama, and New York. So congratulations on that. Yeah, yay.
You really got to be bad at something for New York to penalize you at it.
Yeah. Following his indictment last month in connection with Brian's death, Shanovsky was arrested in Miramar Beach while he was working as a Lyft driver. Body camera video of his arrest obtained by NBC News shows armed deputies swarming around Shanovsky, who had 2 passengers in the back seat when he was apprehended. So there's that. Fun, huh?
I'm telling you that it's when you hear stories like this, it's like I feel like an idiot and a piece of crap most days. But then stories like this, I'm like, maybe I do have it together.
Yeah, you do. You got it more together than you know, brother. I'll tell you that right now. Because at least you could look at a spleen and a liver and go, I know the difference between the two. I may not know which one's which, but
Valid.
I know one's different than the other.
Yeah, one's as big as a football, one's the size of a marble.
Yeah. So I bet you I could turn to this nurse and say, hey, which one's which? Can you label one?
I think anybody could.
Yeah.
I think if you showed my son one time and asked him again 5 minutes later, he'd get it right.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. Or better yet, you know what? Bring the book in with you or look it up on your phone. You know, I mean.
Well, and that's what I don't understand is there's so many opportunities. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you could WebMD anything and fix anything.
Right.
Well, not fix anything, but at least look and sound knowledgeable.
Yeah. Yeah. You could study beforehand and then go in and do the surgery. There's that. All right, our next story. A video shows an Orange County deputy running a driver off the road near Walt Disney World. Not all of you are welcome to Walt Disney World. The video appears to show a deputy leaving the scene without checking on the driver afterwards.
Interesting.
So evidently it was a, you're not welcome here, we'll see you later. The video, exclusively obtained by News 6 in Florida, appears to show an Orange County deputy running a driver off the road. Dash camera video shows the close call. Ivan Schifino experienced around 10 a.m. on Saturday morning while driving home from work at Walt Disney World. So he works there. The dash camera video provided by Schifino appears to show the Orange County Sheriff's Office vehicle cut across a painted divider, which is the space between merge lanes and travel lanes, while merging from I-4 onto World Center Drive without using a turn signal. The striped area you see near exits is called a gore area, and it's not a lane you can drive in, according to News 6 traffic safety expert Steve Montiero. Montiero cited Florida statute 316.089, and you know what they say, Florida statute 316.089 means I just ran over your ass.
Dun, 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 dun.
You have to stay in a real lane, and those stripes aren't one, Montiero says. They're there to separate traffic and keep things safe. When you cut through it at the last second to make an exit, it catches other drivers off guard and can cause crashes. You get a ticket for it. Well, evidently the trooper didn't. Schifino told News 6 that the deputy nearly hit him. If I would have been the one doing that, I probably would end up with reckless driving, probably in jail, Schifino told News 6. It's hard. I don't know about that. If a driver nearly hit me, I'd go soft in a minute. I don't know if he had an emergency to go to, but yeah, it was driving reckless, he went on to say. Schifino's dash camera video shows both vehicles driving into the grassy median. The video appears to show the deputy making a U-turn, activate the patrol vehicle lights, then leave the scene without checking on Schifino.
Oh, sick.
I was expecting him to stop, but he put his lights on and left, and I wasn't going to chase him, Schifino said. I don't think I chased the deputy either.
Not a good look.
No.
Not a good look.
He claimed the deputy acknowledged him, even making eye contact, like, sorry, and then driving off.
My bad.
He did something with his hand, but I'm not 100% sure. So it was either waving or flipping him off, one or the other, but he drove off.
What if he hit him with too sweet? What if he was like, hey,
he might have, might have given him, hook 'em horns. Yeah. Is there a Florida college symbol? I don't know.
I mean, the Gators, right? Like you could.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, but that's two hands, or you could have.
Yeah.
Is there a Walt Disney symbol? Hand symbol? Again, we go back to the devil horns.
Yeah, that's about it.
So the Walt Disney thing. He told News 6 that driving into the median could cause some minor damage did cause some minor damage to the front of his car, but he's glad no one got hurt. Well, we're glad no one got hurt too.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So there you go. Speaking of, we have this one I'm actually going to post in the description of the program so you guys can take a look at this. Again, we talk about DWI or DUI.
Yep.
And sometimes we talk about clever ways to get out of a DWI. This is not one of them, by the way.
Sick.
Tampa officers end up finding a beer can and a Happy Meal during a DWI investigation. By the way, kids, you can't blame the kids when you get pulled over for a DWI. Don't say it's little Johnny's beer. That doesn't work.
I could have seen my dad pulling something like that though back in the day.
Yeah.
My dad collected DWIs like baseball cards for a little while when I was a kid.
Did he?
He's like, "Ooh, I haven't met this offer yet. Hand me a special export."
Special X. Now, see, I remember that from back in the day. I had my fair share of Special X.
Yeah.
Officers with the Tampa Police Department made an unusual discovery during a DUI investigation in March: a beer can and a Happy Meal box. That's the one thing I've never got at McDonald's was a beer and a Happy Meal. Although I think I'd go more often if I did.
Valid.
You ever seen
better than the acid they serve at that other McDonald's?
Yeah, the one in it's a horrible Happy Meal over there at the England McDonald's. You ever seen this kind of Happy Meal? An officer asked when holding up a Heineken can. Oh, I see now. If I got a Heineken and a Happy Meal, which by the way is an excellent album title, Heineken and a
Happy Meal.
Yeah,
actually, somebody needs to pass that along.
Would you pass that along to one of your country artists, please?
I'll see what I can do.
Heineken and a Happy Meal.
I got Jordan Davis in studio tomorrow. I'll ask him.
By all means, tell him Heineken and a Happy Meal is a great album name. The officer said they found the can tucked inside the Happy Meal box on the floorboard. The video released Tuesday showed officers performing field sobriety exercises on a DUI suspect. I can take any test right now and pass it, the suspect told the officers. Me. Right? It's the kid that did it. Me. I can pass it. The suspect was tasked with counting her steps as she attempted to walk in a straight line. However, the video showed her questioning herself during the exercise. Bad move.
Yep.
Yeah. That's 9, she asked the officer. I wasn't counting, the officer told her. Oh, that's a dirty trick.
I'll tell you, if you scroll TikTok, there's all sorts of videos like this. Even if you had the tiniest amount of beverage, even within a legal limit, I think these are tough. I mean, perfectly sober. I'm like, wait, which one was my left? I mean, really, and like the one step after the other, and then put your hands to your sides and do that. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I've had a Diet Coke today, and I bet you I couldn't do this.
Yeah, they have you out there doing the Macarena. You have no idea.
For real.
Yeah. So she asked the officer, that's 9. He goes, I wasn't counting. And she goes, you wasn't? Come on, he's trying to trip you up. No, that's why I asked you to count out loud, the officer said. A few minutes later, the video shows the officer placing the suspect under arrest for driving under the influence. The police department reminded drivers celebrating Cinco de Mayo to have a plan if they chose to drink. Use a rideshare or choose a sober driver. Don't end your night in the back of a patrol car, especially if you put a Heineken in a Happy Meal.
I love that.
I wish they gave me a Heineken and a Happy Meal.
Dude.
I'm telling you.
Who needs a Heineken and a Happy Meal when I got a Heine in my front seat?
Oh.
Attached to a pretty lady.
Or when I got a great backyard in my third wheel. Huh?
That's what I'm saying. There it is.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
I can write the lyrics if you need me to. Just ask Jordan if you need someone to write the lyrics for him. I can do it.
I'll bring it up tomorrow and see what he says. If
he needs a lyricist for it, I can do it. But I can make it all flow for him. All he's got to do is cut the song.
Yeah. No, that's one thing I've always thought about you is country artist, country songwriter,
country impresario. Huh?
Yeah, this guy sleeps with one cousin, and all of a sudden he can write a country song.
Well,
that's funny.
We all got to get our experience somewhere, right?
What was his name anyway? Oh, it was an uncle, wasn't it? It was an uncle.
Hey, I don't judge on the show. I just said I had to sleep with a cousin. You didn't say who it had to be.
Oh, God.
Isn't that how you get the experience?
You have problems. That's great.
Well, we all do. I had mentioned a drone earlier in the show, droning while intoxicated. Oh, yeah. Well, one couple had an issue with their neighbor's wayward drone, so they took action.
Uh-oh.
Allow me to introduce you to this couple right here. And if I were going to say there's a quintessential couple to take care of that action, these two would be it right here.
Holy cow. By the way, mad respect to the fold in the middle of his forehead.
Oh, I know, right? This is a worry line right here. This is a guy who has stress. That guy right there.
That looks like when you've made the bed and the dog jumps up there and like the blanket comes down just a little from where you left it. That's what his forehead looks like.
That guy looks like he's worried that the rent is past due by 6 months. His job, he's going to get fired from his job tomorrow. And the wife to his left probably is going to leave him too. So it's all going on.
That fold in the forehead says, if this fat bitch climbs on me one more time tonight, I swear to God.
No. Oh,
I'm just kidding. She's a pretty lady.
And
she's gorgeous.
And there's a drone coming at him. He's got too many worries, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A married couple is facing felony charges after reportedly admitting to burning a drone in their fire pit after discovering the $1,200 item had mistakenly landed on their Florida property.
What's wrong with that?
It's on their property.
And that's what I'm saying. It's on their property. Somebody was being an idiot, flew it over their house.
The thing's got to burn.
That's what I'm saying. I guess me and stressful forehead Marty over there would be sharing a cell.
Marty. Stressful Stevie. It's the devil. You got to burn him. Burn him with fire. I don't know. Can you think of a rationale for seeing a drone and thinking, I got to throw that thing in the fire?
I mean, throw it in the fire is one thing. I probably would go put it in my garage and be like, someone can come ask for this. And I'll go, what the hell were you flying it over my backyard for?
Yeah.
I'll hit them with it, get off my lawn.
Right.
But throwing it in the fire is a little...
That's a little extreme. How old do you think Stressful Stevie is, by the way?
He looks a solid 48 to 53.
Boy, you are a good judge. Let me tell you here in a second just how old he is. Investigators say that 40-year-old Christopher Paula was flying a DJI Mini 3 Pro drone around 11:30 p.m. last weekend when it lost communication while in flight over his Port St. Lucie neighborhood. The drone, Paula told police, was programmed to automatically return to its home point when connection is lost. However, instead of flying back to Paula's residence, the wayward drone touched down in the backyard of a house owned by the woman, by the way.
Oh, so she, okay.
43-year-old Sandra Marcellus. Marcellus, who bought the property in 2016, lives there with her husband. Oh my God, I don't think I can pronounce his first name. 49-year-old Alquidavin Daniels. I think I nailed it.
Alquidavon?
Alquidavin.
Can we see it for anybody that's watching the video version?
Yeah, Alquidavin. Wait a minute. Let me blow this up for you.
Give me the Reader's Digest edition.
It could be Alquidavin, but I believe it's Alquidavin.
Alquidivian.
No, there's no I-E-N. It's Alquidavin. Alquidavin.
Man, yeah. Ty goes to the runner on this one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Alquidavin. We'll say Alquidavin. Although it could be Alquidavin because maybe there's a little Spanish there. Never know. Marcellus bought the property in 2016, lives there with the hubby, Alquidavin, which, by the way, I was on Alquidavin for a little bit of an infection about 2 years ago. Cleared it right up, just like that.
That's cute that we're calling herpes an infection these days. That's
wow.
Funny.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow.
It's a rash, Dad.
It's just a rash. Don't look at it. Yeah, I know it's on my forehead. Using a GPS tracking feature, Paula determined that his drone's last known position was in a nearby backyard. It's in your backyard, you know what I mean? Cops reported. Paula said that when he knocked on the home's front door, a woman's voice came through the Ring doorbell camera and declared, "You don't have an effing drone anymore, sir."
Oh, God. Al, for short, is going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, Alquidavin. By the way, if you ever notice that you've got a nasty rash, just go right to the doctor and say, I need some Alquidavin. Don't even ask for it by name, by the way. If you ever see the commercials for it on TV when they're like, do you have a nasty rash? Just go to your doctor and ask for Alquidavin. And then they're like, potential side effects could be you lose your leg. Your penis starts to weep. Diarrhea of the ass for 24 straight hours. There's nasty side effects to Alquidavin, but just go get it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It'll get rid of that rash in no time.
And then it needs like a sexy jingle sung by a church choir on the backside.
Yeah. Alquidavin.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
You know what? We'll work on that later. We'll have AI write us the jingle.
We'll have AI write the jingle. Maybe it should be like, forget it. Paula then contacted police who subsequently spoke with Marcellus about the drone incursion, an annoyance with which many homeowners are familiar. After reportedly admitting that she and Daniels buried the drone, Marcellus said that the couple has experienced ongoing issues with drones flying over their property. The flight, she added, prompted her to recently post on the Ring neighborhood app about her concerns about the drones, which would pause when she noticed them. On one recent occasion, Marcellus told police she was outside undressed when a drone flew over her property.
That lady naked in the backyard?
Yeah. She was out there free as a bird. Just enjoying the outdoors.
Bird is an interesting animal to pick.
All right. Out there is free.
Let me just say, if y'all didn't watch the video version of Tim showing the pictures,
yeah,
mammal is where I would go before I went freeze
a seal, a bear.
I'm just saying, judging that lady, I don't know how she's even alive if they don't have a pool in the backyard.
Wow. Thank you very much.
The drone was trying to catch a good shot of her blowhole, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Anyway,
I dare you to say that to stressful Stevie's face. I'll quit even. Marcellus, by the way, I can't even find the line I was reading. I'm thinking is blowhole.
You look like a guy that would.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about where I can put it in the blowhole. We're not even not safe for work territory yet. What are you doing? See, you got me all messed up. Yes, she was outside undressed when a drone flew over her property a week ago. Upon discovering the foreign object with a camera in her yard, Marcellus stated that they burned the drone in the fire pit, according to police, who say that Daniels confirmed the account. Due to the drone destruction. I want to know, okay, with this particular drone, did it send a live signal back? I'm burning. or is there still tape of her out there?
Oh, God.
Or has it been destroyed now that the drone is destroyed?
Oh, maybe that's why he destroyed the drone, because he was hoping that the footage was still on it. Alquividan was really he thought this out.
See? He put some thought into this. He didn't want any footage of his sweet, sweet baby out there. Out in the wild. Due to the drone destruction, Marcellus and Daniels were arrested for criminal mischief. The charge... See, Wayne, this is why I say this. Again, this is Florida. One guy gets $150,000. $150,000 fine. This guy burns up a drone because he thinks he's got naked lady footage on it. It's a felony. The value of the property damage is $1,000. Marcellus and Daniels are freed from county jail after they each posted a $2,500 bond. They don't care in Florida.
That's not that bad.
They don't care though in Florida. They're like, $2,500 bond.
Yeah, because they're chasing real criminals. Sorry about your drone.
Sorry about your toy drone. Sorry about your damn luck. Go ahead. You just off with you now. All right. It's time now for our Not Safe for Work program. Program. Listen to me.
The whole thing has been not safe for work.
It really has. Yeah, I should have just given you the warning at the beginning, but it's time now for Not Safe for Work. If you've got kids in the room, they're already scarred for life, especially with some of the comments Wayne's unleashed on you. If your boss is in the room, you've probably already been fired for listening to this program. And we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Here we go, kids. We'll start off in Pensacola, Florida.
What is it with the nonstop Florida?
I don't know. There's a lot of Florida stories this week. I can't tell you why. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what it is with the Florida this week.
This week, that's where all the idiots are. Not everybody there is an idiot, so don't hate tweet me here.
You know what it is? I think that should be the new Florida state slogan. It's where all the idiots are.
Honestly, why not?
And by the way, Florida, we're giving away free Alquividan.
Y'all are going to need it.
Yeah. All the herpes going around. I don't know. It's a campaign. No, I was told at one time by one of my friends who does news that it's because there's this huge Freedom of Information Act in Florida, that there's just more stories, right?
Oh, that would make sense. I could see that.
Right. But I don't think it's that. I really do think people have gone batshit crazy from the heat.
It's the humidity. Yeah. There's got to be some tie to that somehow.
It's the heat, the humidity, and the fact that everyone, I think, has been bitten by a gator at one time or another. I think gator bites are poisonous, and the poison goes.
I've never seen. Like when I was a kid, my grandma lived in Florida. I've never seen a gator in the wild. I've seen plenty of gators, but I've never seen one in the wild. I see. Actually, there's a highway.
Gator Alley, right?
Yes.
Yes, I've driven
Alligator Alley.
I've driven up Alligator Alley, and I have seen one while driving it.
I've seen them hit by cars and like just exploded into pieces.
Yeah. I saw one.
But I haven't seen them in the wild physically.
Driving up Alligator Alley, again, coming back from the Jericho cruise, I saw one trying to move across the road. Yep. And either that or I was hallucinating from COVID, one or the other. But I did see one. You
got sick on a cruise. Weird, isn't that where it always starts?
I know. Antivirus. No, I know. But yeah, cruises, go figure. They're dirt bags on the water. By the way, give that one to Jordan too. Dirt bags on the water. I think that'd be
dirt bags on the water. There's something to that one.
Great follow up tune.
Love it.
Dirt bags on the water. Good God. I don't know why. I'm on a songwriting binge now. He really should be here. We should.
Yeah, I'm telling you, getting a Nashville itch will do that to you because I felt like I could write a song for a little while too, and then I'm like, dude, no, I just live here. I just drank the same water as Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So now I think I could write a country song. I just can't.
But come on, Heineken and a Happy Meal. Tell me that's not a potential.
I wish an American beer fit better. Budweiser and a Happy Meal doesn't sound as sexy, but it's more American.
It doesn't have the alliteration. Is there another beer that starts with an H?
Somebody's going to give us somebody's going to comment something, and it needs to be a well-known beer. Budweiser, Bud Light.
See, but if you have Budweiser and a Big Mac, you can go with it, or
But Budweiser is, well, see, do you want to have a beer with a kid's meal? So maybe Budweiser and a Big Mac sounds better.
The whole idea of Heineken and a Happy Meal is that we're hiding it from the cops because they're stopping us. So we got a whole theme going on here.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So, that's the thing.
We better move on before I start mentally writing this song.
I think we'll write it together after the show. I want to ask you here, Wayne, real quick. If this little lady right here were committing a crime on you, would you let her?
I mean, if I wasn't wearing pants, absolutely.
Actually, that's part of the story. You won't be wearing pants. You may not be wearing anything at all.
Who says I am now?
What's that? Who says you are right now?
Go ahead and tell the story. I'll just listen.
You just listen. Well, this 18-year-old Pensacola woman tried.
You didn't even catch that.
I did catch it. I'm rolling over it. This 18-year-old
way to no-sell, dickhead.
Yeah, that's all right. Thanks. You're welcome. This 18-year-old Pensacola woman tried to rob a man at gunpoint and told him to strip. So I think it was Adam Ant who said, if I strip for you, will you strip for me? I think that's the lyric. Yeah, there we go.
I love that.
If we go to Escambia County, Florida, we'll tell you a little story about an 18-year-old Pensacola woman who tried to rob a man at gunpoint, hit him in the face with her gun, and then chased the victim's vehicle. She's persistent. This little scamp's name is Adriana Barron, and she's charged with battery, robbery with a weapon, attempted 2 counts, aggravated assault 2 counts, fleeing and eluding law enforcement, and driving without a driver's license, or at least a valid one. According to the arrest report, the incident happened Wednesday around 2 a.m. on Holly Hill Road. A man told deputies he received a ride from a friend to his girlfriend's house. According to the arrest report, the report states that when they arrived, his girlfriend's sister, Barron, approached him, pointed a gun at him, told him to strip and empty his pockets, then struck him in the face with the gun. That's what I call a sexy night.
I mean, I'm wildly turned on.
The man then ran from the house and jumped into his friend's truck along with his girlfriend. According to the report, Barron then reportedly pointed the gun at the friend and told him to empty his pockets. The report states that the second man ran to his truck and the three drove away from the house. However, Barron proceeded to follow the truck and attempted to push it off the road, according to the report, and deputies arrived and tried to pull over Barron's vehicle. The report states Barron initially fled from deputies but was located a short time later. Adriana spontaneously stated she only wanted to help her sister.
I don't believe that for some reason. Why is that, Tim?
I don't believe that either. Not for a second. All right. Our next story has to do with a man who literally shits money.
Well, listen, let me grab a bucket.
Right? I figured I'd get your attention.
Yeah.
This man poops Tiffany diamonds. And on the eve of his trial, this accused thief is waiving his right to counsel. Here's an update on the man you may remember who's pooped a couple of Tiffany diamonds. The career criminal was arrested for stealing, then swallowing $770,000 worth of Tiffany & Company baubles, and he's rejected a plea deal offered by prosecutors and has decided to represent himself at trial. Not a smart move. Which is scheduled for next month, by the way, in Orlando, Florida. At a recent circuit court appearance, a judge granted Jathan Gilder's request to waive his right to counsel in the burglary and grand theft case, while Gilder's attorney was discharged as his regular counsel. The court appointed the public defender's office as standby counsel available for consultation. Gilder's a 33-year-old Texas resident who's been locked up without bond since his arrest last year for allegedly stealing 2 sets of solitaire diamond earrings worth $609,500 and $160,000 from the Tiffany outlet in the Mall of Millennia in Orlando. Gilder was arrested 6 hours after the heist as he traveled on a Florida interstate about 300 miles from Orlando. Investigators believe that Gilder was driving his rented Mitsubishi Outlander back to his Houston residence. After being yanked out of the vehicle by Florida Highway Patrol, Gilder allegedly swallowed the stolen diamonds. He subsequently asked cops, "Am I going to be charged with what's in my stomach?" While sitting in the back of a squad car, Gilder mused, "I should have thrown them out the window." A prison scan revealed Gilder's stomach contained foreign objects. Give me a rough estimate of how long you think, Wayne, it took for them to get those out of his stomach.
3 days.
Oh, you're not even close, my friend. 2 weeks under police guard at a Florida hospital.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Gilder passed the stolen Tiffany merchandise. Oddly, his excrement also contained 2 other earrings, which were not part of the Tiffany haul. How that jewelry got inside Gilder is a mystery.
No, it's not. It's not. Let's be honest.
The man poops money for a living. There you go. Speaking of guys who literally shit money, I mean, not in that way, but they seem to produce it on a regular basis, but they produce it from literally your behind. Some guys who are running a gym theft ring. In other words, they go into your gym, go into your locker, pull your wallet out of your pants, and then turn around and buy Costco gold bars, have been arrested on a credit card theft ring.
There was a time where like my bank card information was getting stolen like every 6 weeks.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while now, which, knock on wood. Yeah, it was horrible. I think they're cracking down on that a little better now, at least like at gas pumps and stuff like that, because that's where it was happening to me.
Yep. Gas scanners were the worst for the longest time. Criminal organization targeting people's wallets left at the gym and spanning multiple states has hit Beaverton, Oregon. Just wanted to
the home of Nike.
Yes, just wanted to say Beaver. The Beaverton Police Department said that they investigated a case on April 30th involving 3 men suspected to be connected to an organized theft crew operating in at least 5 Western states that target gyms, fitness centers, and workout facilities. In that incident, a victim's credit card information was stolen after the victim visited a gym in Beaverton. Police said in a press release, Investigators learned one of the suspects fraudulently obtained a Costco membership using the victim's identity before the group used the stolen credit card to purchase $18,759.96 worth of gold bars from a Costco store in Beaverton.
I'm sketched about buying the gold bars from Costco anyway to begin with, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, right? But then to go...
I mean, if I can buy oatmeal raisin cookies, I don't know if I want to buy gold from the same place.
Right, yeah. But the hot dogs are good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that sounds fantastic, actually, now that you say that, too.
Yeah, little $1.52 hot dog and some soda. I'll go for that. Yeah. I'll settle for that. But the gold bars, I mean, I'll take $18,000 of the hot dogs.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Yeah.
Sounds more delicious.
Right. Pictures of the three men believed to be responsible for the theft and fraudulent purchases and possibly connected to the criminal organization targeting gyms were released by Beaverton police. From there, police say the criminal enterprise they are allegedly associated with often steals the wallets, including identity and credit cards of suspecting gym patrons. The criminals then go to box retail stores like Costco and Best Buy and quickly make large purchases of high-value items like electronics or jewelry before the victim realizes that their card is missing.
Whoops.
They're described as Eastern European males. I like. And investigators believe that they may be involved in similar theft and fraud cases throughout the Western United States. They haven't been caught yet, though.
Oh, they'll get them. Guys like this. I mean, with credit cards and cameras and all that, it's just a matter of time before they slip up.
You would hope. Yeah, you would hope. That's for sure. This next one, there's a reason I put this in not safe for work.
Yeah.
It's a little dicey.
Oh, gosh.
But I think we might have all been there at one time, but never gone this far.
Okay.
A Florida woman's been arrested after allegedly kicking a kid at a youth football game during an on-field brawl.
Oh, this hits way too close to home. I coach youth football, and I get very animated and choose adult language more often than not.
A Florida woman was taken into custody for allegedly kicking a boy at a youth football game during an on-field brawl, then claiming she had no choice because the kid hit me first.
That's not the way to go.
No. Footage of the arrest was shown on Tuesday. 34-year-old Renee Lynn Lambert was booked on suspicion of cruelty to a child without great bodily harm and resisting an officer. I think she was on the wrong side of this deal.
Yeah.
Deputies responded to the youth football game at Brooks Park in Fort Myers on Saturday after they became aware of a large brawl located in the middle of the field. Parents ran onto the field to intervene, and a witness reported seeing an adult female repeatedly kicking a juvenile male. Witnesses quickly identified a white female who was leaving the area to have been a suspect to a battery on a juvenile. Lambert claimed she was hit first, and she asked deputies why they were questioning her and not the offending player. So are you mad at them for hitting me? Lambert appeared to ask deputies. I'm mad at an adult for attacking a kid, a male voice from behind the body camera lens responded. Stop. You're detained right now. Ooh, it was a citizen's arrest. No, I'm not. Goodbye, responded the suspect, dressed in a football jersey. Lambert could not understand why she was being targeted by deputies. Get your hands off of me, she said in the footage. I'm the one who got hit. She's
unreal.
She's privileged. At least one witness, identified as Andre Valdez, backed up a player's claim that he was on the ground when Lambert allegedly kicked him in the leg. You're being pointed out as a suspect. You are detained, the male voice said as Lambert and deputies began to scuffle. Lambert appeared to identify her attacker as a player wearing a number 9 jersey. So where's number 9? Go get number 9, Lambert said during the scuffle with law enforcement. She was led away in handcuffs while still arguing with deputies. She's detained because they said you hit a kid, the male voice behind the camera said, and the kid hit me, Lambert responded.
Whoops.
Whoops. Lambert could not immediately be reached for comment at publicly listed phone numbers and email associated with her. She probably, after seeing the tape, won't say anything.
Yeah,
at least
to say the least.
At least not without her lawyer being present.
Yeah, and at some point she's going to realize this was stupid.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake. All right. A couple more before we get to our palate cleanser today. A man is accused of recording under a woman's dress, arrested at an Orlando outlet mall. Police say the suspect admitted to video voyeurism in an incident at a busy International Drive shopping area. A 41-year-old man was arrested after Orlando police say he recorded video underneath an unsuspecting woman's dress at a busy shopping center in the city's tourism district. The incident happened just after noon on Friday at the Orlando Outlet Marketplace along International Drive, according to the Orlando Police Department. Investigators say victims told officers that a man identified as Thomas Newkirk ran up to her outside an Adidas store and placed his phone underneath her dress to record video. I can't imagine just running up and going, nah.
Not only that, to the guys that are into that, there's more to life.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of the female body as well, but I would never stoop to that level.
Here's either the stupid thing or this guy has the biggest balls in the world. The woman's husband and brother witnessed the encounter and confronted Newkirk. They were right there.
That's so dumb.
And they shouted at him and asked what he was doing. The two men then chased after the suspect. I hope they beat the shit out of him.
I would have immediately.
Yeah. During the pursuit, one of the witnesses was struck with a stick near a garbage can area. Officers said Newkirk later handed over his phone when they arrived on the scene. Authorities said they found the recorded video on the device. Police reported that Newkirk apologized to the victim and admitted he recorded the video for his own sexual gratification. He was arrested on a charge of video voyeurism. All right.
Never been my thing.
Yeah. One man got more than just nuggets at the Chick-fil-A and the drive-thru. He actually showed everybody his nuggets.
What the hell is wrong with people?
And his chicken stick.
Chicken stick. I'll never feel now anybody that goes to Burger King gets the chicken fries is going to think of this. Good job.
I know, right? Central Florida man has exposed his genitals at a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, according to deputies. Luke Dudkowitz faces, guess how old this guy is, faces charge of lewd and lascivious exhibition. In the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, takes out his pork and beans.
But out of Chick-fil-A, that's a godly restaurant. They rest on the seventh day.
I know, right? This is a Christian organization. How old do you think this guy is before I turn this around?
I'm going to give you a solid 78 years old.
Not that old. He's 33.
Unreal.
Yeah. But he looks like he's about 50.
Yeah, that beard looks like hell. As a beard guy, that beard looks like hell.
Yeah, he looks like he's one of ZZ Top's sons.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Palm Coast man was arrested after being accused of exposing himself to a minor at a fast food restaurant. You got to remember, these are kids working the drive-thru too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe you just wanted them to say my pleasure.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah. That according to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office in a release. That's a bad way to put that in a sentence.
Yes, sir. It is.
Deputies said they responded to the incident on April 24th at Chick-fil-A along State Road 100. Upon arrival, deputies spoke with the victim, a minor who claimed that a customer had exposed his genitals to her while she was working at the drive-thru window. Again, they say the release states, would you stop using the release in the story?
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah. The victim told deputies that she was handing the customer his food and saw his exposed genitals with a bluish-green circular object, which she believed to be a sex toy, around his Chick-fil-A.
Self.
Using surveillance footage, deputies said they managed to identify the suspect as Luke Dudkowitz or Dukowitz. Look at how old this guy looks for 33.
Oh, yeah. He's been through it. He has been through it.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
That guy looks like he's 50. My God. They later spoke with Dudkowitz at his home, and he admitted to going through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru earlier that day. He also confirmed that he owned a bluish-green vibrating sex toy. How would you like to have to admit that to police? Yeah, that thing's mine.
Yeah, that's mine.
Do you need to scrape? Do you need to scrape it for DNA? Which he had with him in the car. He travels with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks. Ugh.
Imagine how that thing gets ripe in the sunshine. However, he denied that he was. Did I gross you out with that one?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to let him keep going here.
However, he denied that he was wearing it at the time and denied having his genitals exposed. Dear God. Ugh. I think we can move on from this story. Although I could tell you the gory details about the drive-thru, but I won't.
No. Spare the listeners that. It's been a tough listen already.
It's true. Although I do have the gory details about one story you may want to hear. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you a picture. You tell me, would you like to hear the gory details about her?
What, running around looking like Sasha Banks over here. Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah. All right. Let me tell you about her. All right. This story has to do with a California housewife with a filthy secret. Ready for this?
Yes. Hell yeah.
She admits to, well, it's a little gory. She admits to killing a man who is 55 years old during a kinky sexual encounter gone horribly wrong.
Nah, put me down. That's the best way to go.
That is the best way to go, isn't it? I'm thinking I'd take a chance on this one. California housewife living a double life has admitted to killing a 55-year-old man during a kinky sexual encounter that went horribly wrong. 32-year-old Michaela Reilersdam pleaded guilty to causing the 2023 death of Michael Dale, with whom she recorded a steamy video for her OnlyFans account. That's right, kids, look her up. She's on OnlyFans. The clips show Dale with his wrists tied up, duct tape over his mouth, and a plastic bag covering his head for several minutes. That's where he went wrong. He probably should have said the magic word or whatever it is to get out of it.
What would your safe word be? Don't say pineapple.
No. Get me the fuck out of here. That would be my safe word. There'd be no mistaking. The married escort who used the name Ashley Sincal. So there's two S's in Ashley, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Then dialed 911 for help, but Dale died at the hospital the next day from asphyxiation as a result of the items placed over his head. At the time of her arrest in February of 2025, Reilersdam charged up to $1,500 plus a generous tip for her services. Oh, so she still got paid. How nice.
Yes, she should. That's a prepaid thing, I have a feeling.
Is it? Yeah. That according to her internet page, where she boasted of her sexual exploits. Dale paid her a little more than $11,000 for the encounter.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And made several requests over text that included her tying him up, wrapping him like a mummy in saran wrap, and gluing boots to his feet, according to testimony from the preliminary hearing.
Let's go.
I guess, right? This guy's all in.
It gets more exciting as we go here for him.
Right? Behind the scenes of what she portrayed on her kinky website, Reilersdam lived a much seedier life with her husband, Brandon, who allegedly is fully aware of her secret life and helped her run her business. So he's all in, right?
I mean, good for them. Kind of.
She and Brandon have 3 young children together, whom she also touted on her escort page. No, you don't bring the kids into it. I'm sorry. That's no, naughty. Yeah, don't mention them.
But don't you think if you play the sympathy card, you'll get more business? It's like homeless people with dogs, right? Like you give them money. So if you see an escort that's out there selling her body and she like uses her kids, maybe you're like, oh, I'll give her a little more money.
Give her a bigger tip, I guess so.
Yeah.
On her escort page, Secret Hostess, which was previously reviewed by the Daily Mail, Rylersdam said she goes by the name Ashley, adding that the H is silent. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't be pronouncing the H. It's just Ashley.
But to be fair, even saying that name, I don't know what she looks like. Even saying that name makes me want to go get more money.
Oh, there's
makes me want to check my wallet.
There's plenty of ass on that Ashley. Let me show you the bottom half of her here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew what her face looked like. To be fair, I might make that investment.
Girls packing that back. That's for sure. Just saying. Although when she's got the court smock on, when she's
not as pretty.
No. They don't let her keep herself up like she does on her page. I'm just saying, in jail.
Yeah.
That's for sure. She does say on her page, I come from a lifelong background of dance, and I have learned how to incorporate acrobatics into my lap dances. I promise you no other listed on this site is as professional as I am.
Oh, I don't know if anyone's looking for professionalism when they're making that purchase, if you will. I think the lack of professionalism might get the deal done faster.
Well, no, you said it, I didn't. Despite the high price, Dale is said to be paid for her services on Secret Hostess. Her most expensive package is listed at $1,500 for the ultimate in-call. Although the ultimate in-call now involves a conjugal visit. So, yeah, if you'd like the jail experience, that's, oh boy. Take a look at this. This is part of the ultimate in-call now. You get the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer treatment, which is this right here.
Yeah, that does nothing for me.
She's got a very shiny nose. If you ever saw it, you would even say it glows like a light bulb. That does nothing for you?
No.
Okay. All of the other reindeer. You still haven't called her names. A wild in-call, by the way, costs $1,100. A mild one, $800. The chalupa costs $300. I don't know what a chalupa is. I made that part up.
I don't know. Sounds like somebody's eating butt cheeks, though.
Someone's eating Ashley for $300.
God, calm down. Sounded like Alex Trebek over here.
Ashley
for $300, please.
That's right. They're claiming that the guy who got tied up and polybagged, Dale, had alcohol and prescription drugs in his system at the time. So they're saying that Ashley is... Ashley, I sound like some sort of hockey announcer. They're claiming Ashley was full of alcohol and drugs. Ashley in the paint. That's Marv Albert, isn't it, that I'm doing right there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Ashley in the paint. That's right. All right, we need a palate cleanser after Ashley, I believe. Do we? Yes, we do. We have one. Okay, so for the first two here, Wayne, we're going to play a little game called We Believe This Guy's Life is Worse Than Yours.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
That is, if I can get my iPad to play along. My iPad's been dragging along today, which is not a good deal. But the way we play this game is I've got two stories that are this. We believe this guy's life is worse than yours.
Okay.
And then the third story is kind of an enlightening story. It's kind of a happy story.
Love it. I love happiness.
Oh wait, do I have time for the happy story? I may not. We might just go this guy's life is worse.
That's fine. I like that too.
Although the happy story is kind of a great story. I might play the happy story. I might just play the happy story. By God, I think we have enough time for the happy story. We've got an extra long program today, which, by the way, I want to thank my guests from earlier, Shawn and Steve, the FBI agent, and the I don't want to call him a bank robber. He's an author, but he was a bank robber as well. And the name of the book is The Treehouse, which is available in the link in the description of this program. And the movie that's on Netflix right now is How to Rob a Bank, which both are incredible. But we have a link to the book. I want you guys to go check out the book because the book is fantastic, and we'll give you a look at Hollywood the Bank Robber and Scott Spurlock, who's Hollywood the Bank Robber, and that entire story. I know you haven't seen the movie, Wayne, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff. Okay, let me get to this story. The first story that we're going to bring up today. How much of a Star Wars nerd would you say you are?
0%.
0%. Okay. So you don't celebrate May the 4th or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Okay. So you're not looking forward to the Mandalorian Grogu movie?
Nah, does nothing for me.
Okay. Well, I'm a slight Star Wars nerd, but not enough to to go wait in line at midnight for a matinee or not a matinee, but for a
first screening deal or whatever.
First screening deal or whatever.
Yeah.
But this YouTuber just created the original Star Wars with cardboard. They're calling it awesome in this article. I'm calling it a man who's probably never touched another female in his life.
Yeah. Virginity.
Yes. His name's Zach King. He calls himself a YouTube sensation. I call him a little sad. He's recreated the seminal 1977 sci-fi film using cardboard. He was sold Happy Star Wars Day by many a Star Wars nerd out there. I guess I'd give him a May the 4th be with you. YouTuber Zach King unveiled Cardboard Wars, a spectacular Star Wars parody starring King along with Randall Park, Michelle Kerr, Arak, and Bart Johnson. But this is no ordinary tribute endeavor since King's incredible 1-hour project recreates 1977's Star Wars A New Hope entirely out of cardboard, and it simply must be seen to be believed. King graciously provided some exclusive comments on how this hilarious micro-budget miracle came about. We'll skip a lot of them. But I'll give you an idea of what his idea of Star Wars and cardboard looks like. There you go, if you're watching the video.
No. Nope.
I figured I just had to show you there.
Nope. And it looks like he took something up from his mom's top dresser drawer to help fly the Millennium Falcon there.
Yeah, it's an X-Wing, but I won't get too technical on you.
Again.
Yeah.
Calm down. Don't stick up for your virgin boyfriend there. Jesus. God damn. I think you meant an X-Wing.
Hey, just because I had to pull out my inhaler to finish that sentence is no reason. Cardboard Wars even mimics the pioneering digital effects technology devised by legendary ILM names like John Dykstra, Alva J. Miller, and Jerry Jeffress for their Dykstra Flex camera. Yeah, I know he put way too much money into it. And that man right there probably has a more pathetic life than you do. Our next guy.
Uh-oh.
Who really has a more pathetic life than you do, is a man who pulled a French police car through Yorkshire with his penis while on fire.
Talent.
That's talent. That's a talented guy. By the way, is going to be the backup vocals on Heineken in a Happy Meal. A strong man believes, stronger than Mark Henry? I think not. A strong man believes he has become the first person in the world to pull a car with his penis while on fire. 50-year-old John Stevenson hauled a 2-ton French police car 40 meters along a residential street using his manhood after being set ablaze. Are you saying he's married?
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
Yeah, something tells me he had to get a dust cloth. He's got 2 inches of dust on his penis before he used it to pull the car.
He completed the challenge in Halifax, West Yorkshire by using a tow rope attached to his manhood.
Good for him.
How big are you, son? A tow rope?
Nobody said it's huge. And the cars are smaller over there than they are here.
Well, I'll give you that. And despite admitting it hurt quite a bit, the dad of 3 said everything was still intact. I have a picture of this as well. The martial arts expert and former bare-knuckle fighter has previously hit the headlines for pulling a car using his testicles.
Yeah, you can just keep these pictures to yourself on this one, likely.
pulling a car while his head was on fire. This guy likes to pull cars.
And not only that, like that's one of those like, I wonder if there's a Guinness record for this, and then just doing it.
Probably. I bet you he's the record holder. I bet you nobody else wants to do it.
No.
So he decided to combine both to raise awareness of men's mental health issues, you think, and reckons he's the only person in the world to have achieved such a feat. I reckon you are too.
You know how you train for something like that is you pull on it by yourself a lot.
Yes. Yeah. You put a tow rope around it, tie it to a door, and just keep slamming the door. And that's how you train for this thing. Painter and decorator Shawn of Spalding, Lincolnshire, said, I've pulled a car with my testicles before, and I've pulled a car on fire, so I thought, why not combine both? This time I'll do it with my penis.
Good job. Good looking, man. Good looking out, my boy.
I will show you one picture. This is a picture of him looking surprised, I guess, after he did it. I have no idea, but...
Yeah, it looks like his penis may be made of, like, rough leather. Yeah.
Yes, leather. Yeah. Or steel. One or the other. Oh, dude. I just read a line that... Listen to this. He says, I won't lie, it did hurt quite a bit, but my mind was focused on being on fire, and I just plowed on and pulled it around for 40 meters. I doused myself in lighter fluid, and the wind was against me a bit, so it took a couple of attempts.
Oh, my God.
I don't think he loves himself very much.
No, not at all. And it obviously doesn't have family that loves him because they would definitely talk him out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. There's definitely that. Okay. Finally, I want to get into this story here. I got sent this by, I believe it was Raul who sent this to me. It's a video, but the audio of it is pretty funny. And I think I may post a link to this video in its entirety so you can watch the entire thing. A 5-year-old calls 911. He thinks it's for a very good reason.
Yeah.
He claims there's a monster under his brother's bed.
Oh, gosh.
The cop realizes it may not be what it seems, but the interplay between the two is pretty funny. We'll post the link. For time's sake, we'll post the link on the description of the program. You can go watch it. But this 5-year-old is really cute. Basically, he says to the cop, there's a monster under my bed. You won't believe what's under his bed. There is a monster under his bed. But you'll see what it is, and you'll see how the cop rewards him for not calling in the entire SWAT team. Because the kid knows what a SWAT team is, and he wanted the SWAT team to show up.
Yeah.
But
I think I saw this video. It's cute. It's adorable.
Yeah. So we'll have you check out the video. Again, the link is in the description of the program. All right. So that'll do it again. Wayne, tell us about the Saturday night show and who's on this week.
It's likely going to be Ashley McBride. She's had amazing success. She's going to be on the show Saturday night. It's 7 p.m. local time all over the country. Check the local listings up on our Instagram, iHeartCHP. That's it.
All right. And we will have a link in the description of the program for the Big 98, for the Saturday night show, for everything, so people can find their local listing for you for the Saturday night show.
Come on through. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. And so people can tune in, because I'm sure they're going to want to hear the lyrics to Heineken and a Happy Meal.
I might make Jordan Davis write that song, and just for us, just for our show, and see what happens.
Right, and see if he can do it.
Yeah.
Should call it the 60-second song challenge. I think that should be a new feature for your show.
60-second song challenge. I'm actually going to text that to myself.
Yep, 60-second song challenge. See if in 60 seconds, you just give them a topic or give them one line, a topic or one line, like Heineken and a Happy Meal. Go.
I like it.
And then see if they can write a quick song.
Done. We'll see what we got out of it.
Yeah. See how good they are. Let's see how good you are. A guitar, a line in 60 seconds.
That's sounds like we're backstage with Dwight Yoakam in the 80s.
That's right. See? You're welcome for the idea, buddy. You're welcome. All right. Tomorrow on the big show, supernatural news with Mally Fox. Mally's back tomorrow.
Let's call Mally. About damn time she showed up to work.
Yeah. What?
She's not still listening. We're good.
Yeah, she's listening. Yeah, probably. We're in trouble. And then Thursday, I'll just give this hint that we'll be talking to an author that has a controversial book about the paranormal. So,
ooh.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler.
Yes, it's Henry Lee Winkler. No, it's not Henry.
The Fonz is coming through.
Yes. It's a new book by Henry Winkler called Ghosts or Bullshit. No, it is not.
That's right up his alley, though, right?
Yeah, it's right up his alley. Yes, so to speak.
Oh, God.
No, it's not. All right, that'll do it for today. Say goodbye, Wayne.
Hey, I'm out. Love you. Appreciate you, Tim. Thanks for having me, dude.
Love you, too. Thank you so much. All right, folks, that'll do it for today. For Wayne D, I'm Timmy D. I'm Tim Dennis. We'll see you tomorrow for Supernatural News and Mally Fox. And thank you for listening to and watching the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.